Hello, hello, and what is up? I guess we are live. Well, as you can see, we got a new microphone, guys. So, the biggest update on this channel is here basically. I bought the camera, I bought the microphone. Summer is here. I'm almost done with all my exams. Just one more on Friday, and then I'll be free. I hope I'll be free most of the time, but I still have stuff to do, of course. It's not like I will be here 24/7, but I will try my best. I don't really know how well you can hear me or if I'm screaming actually, if I should turn the volume somehow. Okay, I think everything is set up. And just one more thing. Okay. So now, I think you can see, yes, you can see me there. Today we are gonna react to this podcast. I know it's old, but I love these guys, Thomas Brush and David. David is the one that created the game, the first three, the game that we played, the first game that we played actually on this channel. Just give me 1 second so I can check if the live stream is okay. But I love these guys, Thomas Brush and David. David is the one that created the game, the first three, the game that we played, the first game that we played actually on this channel. Okay, I think it's better like this. Maybe I can type something so we can make sure the chat works properly. Welcome here, and now it should be up here at some point. Yes, okay, so everything works. Well, I guess we can start the video because 2 hours, that's quite a bit. And yep, let's see what we got here.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and get started. David, thanks for being willing to talk to me. Like I've heard
Okay.
a lot of people in my audience are really interested in your story because you have sort of a really you have a very entrepreneurial sense of how to make games, and I think a lot of game developers don't
Hey
really.
yo, well. If it is a Noko, hey, what is up? Welcome here. You were so fast. I'm so glad I just literally just turned on this live stream. You can see here, I guess, I hope. I don't know if it's my face right there. I think it's in that corner. Yeah. Let me know if you can hear me. Hey girl, it's good to see you again. Hi guys, and welcome on this live stream. It's so nice that you literally just entered because I just opened the live stream. Let me know if you can hear me well, if the voice is okay. I buy this microphone. I feel like I still can do a few stuff so we can improve it a bit, or maybe I can have to sit close like this. I don't know exactly what we have to do. I'll try my best. But today we are gonna watch this podcast. It's almost 2 hours long, so don't worry. I've tried to play it with my voice over and so on. It works. So without any introduction, let's jump into the video and let me know if you can hear anything.
Have that, unfortunately. And I've learned a ton from you. You've like advised me. You advised me on Pinstripe's Nintendo Switch launch, which went really well, and then you also advised me on Neversong's Steam launch. And so that's sort of how I know you. Is David is really good at entrepreneurship and creating games, and not only creating them but selling them. So that's how I know you. And again, your full name is David Wehle. If people don't know you, do you want to introduce yourself and sort of give everybody an idea of what you've accomplished and achieved?
Yeah. No, that's super nice of you to say those things. I
No, that's not the India flag color. It's actually sort of a black. It might be a bit blue, but it's very kind of black, and this one is just red, and it's still the same. So no, not really.
Before I introduce myself, I think giving context to how I know you, I think that's important
Let me know if you can hear me, see me well, because otherwise I would change something.
too, because
Yeah, sure.
if someone like put a gun to my head and said you have to pick your favorite game developer, I'd probably pick you. And I think
Aw.
Oh,
and
wow.
I think it started because Unity flew out a film crew to your home, right, in South Carolina,
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
did that sweet, like inspiring documentary.
Oh
And
man, dude, they made me look so cool because
it
I
was
could tell
so
you,
cool.
I
I
could tell you
loved
I
it.
wasn't that.
After the stream, check out any video on mic filters for OBS and spend 15 minutes setting it up so it sounds professional. I did that actually, but the thing is, um, just give me one, all right, just give me one more second because I will show you right now. So for this one, here I got compressor and noise reduction. Honestly, I've tried it, but I don't think it's necessary because I have this thing right here. If I can also remove it, you will see just the microphone. So this thing really works. Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear. Thank God, finally. Yeah, maybe I can play a bit more with these settings right here, but I've tried my best. As you can see, I've adjusted already a few stuff. I watched a few tutorials, but yeah, we'll try to improve it later on. Thank you.
That cool. Well, like I look back and I kind of cringe on that whole experience because I was so I felt like I was so small because I'm in South Carolina and you and I are both on the East Coast, right?
So I'm in
So,
I'm in Utah now, but I
oh, okay. Okay.
all my formative years was in the middle of nowhere in Virginia. And like my games are about that too. Like it's just
Right.
about growing up in the country and like
Yeah.
this Americana flavor of just being in the
Yep.
middle of nowhere where there's lots of like the trees and everything
Yep.
and when I saw that mini documentary, I was like, man, this guy is a lot like me, and he's
Yep.
living in the middle of nowhere. He's not in San Francisco like like a lot of other typical game developers, and it really like it connected with me, and so
Yeah.
I thought
Well,
that was the coolest thing, and I loved like you were doing everything yourself. That was the other big thing, and I think that's
yeah.
one of the differences between me and you do it in this amazing way where everything's handmade and it's truly like all your heart is put into it, and it
Right.
blows my mind. It really is like it's an amazing
Well, it's not.
feat.
It's not. It's not. Well, thank you, but it's definitely not a healthy thing. So, like, that's the difference.
It's so nice that they appreciate each other because, in my opinions, they're very, both of them, they're very good in what they're doing, and seeing they're not competitors or something like that, it's even better. Imagine these two guys creating a game together. Well, that would be the best game, indie best game of the year, 100%.
Between like, we were talking about San Francisco and like the East Coast or the rural Americana feel is for me like I didn't nobody that I knew of in South Carolina, and you probably felt this way when you were in Utah, right, when you made the first tree,
Right.
correct?
Yep.
So like I'm sure that there was a feeling of like you kind of have to like pick yourself up. What's the phrase? Pick yourself up by your bootstraps and do it completely alone.
Reduce attack to 3 or 2 and reduce output gain a little bit. I'll let you know what happens. Okay, let's try what Robert said. Thank you very much, Robert, for your initiative. So you said, okay, let's set it to 3 and reduce output gain a little bit. Okay, like this. Let me guys know. I've also adjusted the mic a bit so it's higher now. I hope it's better this way. Let me know because I don't want to interrupt every time on the live. I mean, for me it's fine, but I don't want you to feel like uh attack not ratio. Hold on. Am I blind? Oh my god, I was blind. Okay. I hope it was 4. I don't even know. Sorry, my bad. I'm just tired after the exams. No, I'm just tired after the exams. I'm sorry. Let me know if it's better this way or not. Mic check 1, 2, 3. Nothing. Proverb, where are you, buddy? Is it better or no? Release to 100. What do you mean release to 100? Okay, fine. There you go. If it's the perfect setting, I will, I don't know. I will thank you very much. And output gain increase. Output gain increase. Like this. Is it better now? Let's see. Let me actually, oh, sorry. Let me actually, okay, I think it sounds better now, right? I was playing the live stream on my phone as well to check. I think it does. Thank you very much. 21, good. Nice. Thank you. I think it's better this way. Okay, let's get back to the podcast then. Thank you very, very much. Let me know if there's any issue.
And that's how it felt at the time. Instead of, and so when all this film crew came over from Los Angeles to film, and they were hired by Unity, for me it felt like I was so, I felt like a fraud. I felt like I was faking it, you know, because you grow up in, for me, you grow up in South Carolina, you don't feel like you're cool enough. You don't have enough resources. You don't know people in the industry.
Mhm.
And
It's very interesting. Someone for America saying that because for us Europeans, I mean, I will talk for myself now. I don't want to generalize, but in general, with all my friends, which are all Europeans, every time we talk about the American dream, is that it doesn't matter from which part of America you're from, you are still living in America, right? You are still living the dream. So it's interesting that they say this right now.
what I'm learning, and I think your channel does a really good job. And by the way, guys, if you want to check out David's channel, click the link in the description. It's called um, Game Dev Unlocked.
Mm-hmm.
He's got some really cool resources. But
I
your
will
channel
put
and my
stuff
channel
in the
basically
description.
focus
Hold on.
on, you know, starting a game from scratch and doing it alone, and it's totally possible. And so you taught me, and I don't want to get too much in the weeds here, but what you taught me was, after the nightmare of creating Pinstripe completely alone, everything from scratch, I learned that that is cool, and it shows that it's possible, but it's not really the best way to go about it. And so I've started applying a ton of business principles that you've taught me of how to make games in an efficient way without spending, 300.
Also, after the stream, add expander filter. Now back to the video. After the stream, I can also add it. It's fine. It doesn't bother me, I told you. If it doesn't bother the others as well, for me, it's just fine. So you said expander. Here we are. I'm also putting in the description of the live stream the video that we are reacting to. So it's gonna be easier for you guys to find it. Wait, it doesn't let me. That's weird. Let me know if there's anything I have to adjust here, because I think I do. Or should I just copy the settings for the compressor? Mm, ratio 4. Okay. Ratio 4. Mic check 1, 2, 3, 4. Ratio 4. Let's go. flip it. I'll do it like this. Attack 2. Okay, just 1 second. So a ratio 4, change this one to 38. Oh, what am I doing? It was the other way around. Oh, 38, attack 2, release 100, and output gain 0. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, mic check. I hope now it's even better than before, thanks to rover.x. Oh, here we are, official video, and now it's gonna be easier for you as well, guys. Yeah, I hope it works better. Let me know. Output gain 0. I haven't put it. Oh, I dragged it. Hold on. Ah, it's the other way around. Wait, what? Ah, okay, this is 0. Go back. My my bad. I thought 0 is, left side, but apparently it's not. Okay, so like this. You see, it's weird that in OBS 0 is in the middle. Okay, it doesn't make sense in my mind. 0 is always in the left side. So is it okay now? It's so funny that you call me Noko, and here might be people that they don't know what is Noko. Is it okay now? Let's give it a try. Hold on. Oh Jesus, what was that? Me playing with the microphone is not the best idea on a live stream. All good for now. Okay. Yeah, okay, I think it's even better now. Thank you, Rover. And sorry for thinking that 0 was on the other side.
$100,000 of your salary for over the period of 5 years to make a game when you can just spend maybe $2,000 on assets from the asset store. And we can talk about all of that in this podcast. Like, really, what I want to talk about this podcast is just how all of the entrepreneurial stuff that you've figured out, and how you've created so a huge successful studio and sold a ton of copies just by doing it in a smart way alone. But you did make a game called First Tree, right? You want to tell the audience a little bit about that? And also, if you want to talk about your YouTube channel.
The game that we played on the channel, I have a video about it. It's called This Game Changed My Life Forever. Check it out. It's posted as a video, not a live stream, so feel free to check it.
And just really quick so people know.
Yeah, quick rundown. I considered
Cheers,
myself
Thomas.
a hobbyist for a long time, and I found Unity through work, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever because, like, growing up in Virginia, I was like the only kid I knew that was making mods for all these existing old 3D games like Far Cry
Minecraft
and Dark Forces 2 and stuff, and I loved it. Like, I loved it. It was like Legos on crack. Like, you could do anything you wanted.
That's
I loved
exactly
it.
what it feels like.
And then anyway, like, I went into film later in the school, and I love film still too. But then I found Unity. I was like, man, this is a free commercial use engine. This is mind blowing. And then I taught myself, and then I made a really short 30-minute game called Home is Where One Starts. And I spent 18 months, and I was crappy at code, so I used Playmaker. I used a lot of assets to save me time because I just had a baby. I was working full time, 40 hours a week, but I wanted to finish something. I was like, what's a wise shortcut I can do so I can still make a game and put my personality and my story. I'm a storyteller. Like, I wanted to tell a story.
Yeah.
But also, like, I didn't have the funds to hire anybody. It was very do it yourself, duct tape together a game and see.
I think this is the best way to start, honestly, because if you have a team already, imagine at some point you will feel by yourself. You can afford paying someone to work with you shoulder by shoulder, let's say, and you are gonna be alone in that. Well, if you've never tried that before, it's gonna be a huge shock. But if you start by yourself and then you will add one person to, I don't know, help you with modeling, one person for the audio, and so on, it's gonna be amazing. At least in my opinion. Let me know what you guys think.
how it does.
Right.
And that game,
Right.
released in 2015, it did okay. Like nothing huge. Like it made some
You don't
nice
have
bonus
to,
money.
yeah, you don't have to disclose the exact number if you don't want to. I'm just curious if you're willing to, because a lot of people want to know how much their first games made.
Yeah.
Is that something
Yeah.
you're willing to discuss?
Oh, sure. Like the first tree, because there's like consoles involved. I don't like talking about that. But
Yeah,
Home is Where One
I'm not
Starts.
talking, but
Yeah,
right,
Home is Where
yeah.
One Starts on Steam. I did like, it probably took a year and a half to make $15,000. And I did a bundle
Oh.
deal with
Hmm.
IndieGala as
Yeah.
well. So that was like 2,000 of that
Yep.
15K.
Yeah,
And
that's pretty depressing, dude.
like, here's the thing though. I wasn't depressed. And here's why. Like, I was still like, I had a safe full-time job that I was still
Yeah.
doing. It was just bonus money on top of my salary. And I was actually like, if it was full-time, yes, I would have been terrified. I would have been like
Yeah.
sweating bullets. But like for me, I was like, oh sweet, this game. I was gonna release it for free, by the way. I was like, I'll just
Yeah.
release it for free on itch. That'll be cool. That'll be do.
Yeah.
And then someone said, I think my wife convinced me, like, just pay. It was Steam Greenlight back then. It was like, pay the $100, and I was
That's
like,
right.
oh,
Yeah.
it's like $100. I don't want to spend $100, but I did it, and then it got voted in. And even 2015 is so much different than 2020 when you talk about like Steam
insanely
numbers.
different, dude.
It's insanely different. So it's still like, even back
man.
then it didn't do
And
great,
now
but
it's
but
2024.
to me, I was so excited because I was like, oh,
Jeez.
I could build a really nice computer with this, and I saved the
Right.
rest. I saved the rest of the money, and I was burnt out. And then that's when I said, I have another game idea. I have this idea about a fox, and this second story that runs parallel to it about a son reconnecting with his estranged father in Alaska. And I was like, this is a cool story. I love telling stories. And I had a plan. I was like, I'm going to use assets again to save time because I was still working full time and we had another baby.
Right.
So, yeah, it was.
See, that's the situation I'm in now. Is we're about to have our second kid, and I'm like,
Oh,
I
nice.
literally
Congrats.
laid on the
Now,
floor.
Thomas, just imagine yesterday his wife just gave birth to another child. It's just so funny every time. Wait a second, guys. Let me just change something because I feel like this one is a bit too much, honestly. I think it's
I
better
laid
now.
on the floor of my office today with my dog. I was talking to my dog. His name is Jeb. I said, Jeb, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm so exhausted. Like it's mainly entrepreneurship. It's not necessarily, and you probably know this feeling. It's not necessarily making games that wears you out while you're a dad. It's that entrepreneur feeling of like, I've got to make sure that I don't screw this up. And even when it's going good for you, like it's going good for both of us. I think we could both say that. Like things are going good financially, and finally things have stabilized for my studio. And I don't technically have to worry, but it's still there. That feeling of, okay, things are good now. Don't screw up what you've already done. That's good. Like keep it going and keep doing it well. And so I always have in my head this, especially when I have two kids, and like you, like I think you have two kids, right? Do you have a third yet?
Third's coming in October.
Wow. Oh, dude, that's crazy. Really?
Jackpot.
Then I think we're done.
I
5
should-
kids is
yeah.
a lot.
I just do what my wife says. Like if she wants 5 kids, I have to do it. No, my
Wow.
second kid is arriving in October as well. Little
congrats.
Silas. So
That is so
congrats
exciting.
to you. That's really
Thank
cool,
you.
man. I guess maybe we talked about this on Discord. I don't know, but that's pretty cool. But I guess my whole point is like, when you have people dependent on you, it changes your whole focus with game development.
Yes.
And I just want to encourage my audience, like, if you don't have kids and you don't have people dependent on you, then have some fun. Like, really, really go for it and make a great game, and don't worry too much about the finances. I don't know if you agree with me, but once you have kids, you got to start being more practical. Or once you get married or whatever, you got to start being practical about how you create games. You can't spend, 5 years full time on a game, obviously, when you're married and you have kids. You got to, I guess you got to provide,
Yeah, and that was something important too. Is like I had a choice. I was like, okay. I was saying, I was like, man, I wish I could be like Thomas Brush and make everything. I'm like, because I like composing too. I've done music before for years, and I love. And I was a technical artist at my job. Like, I know how to model. I know how to do this stuff, and I love it. But like after 8 hours at a job and then taking care of kids and stuff, I was like, I still want to tell my story. I still want to release and finish my game. And I don't want to neglect my family. And that's something entrepreneurs of all kind, they have that problem, right? Of just 80-hour weeks, and they're not seeing their kids at all. And I really didn't want to do that, obviously, but
me neither.
It requires a sacrifice. You can't do that. I mean, it's very easy when you're by yourself, when you're not even in a relationship, let's say. But once you get in a relationship, it starts to become even harder to be an entrepreneurship, in my opinion. This is why most entrepreneurs are spending most of the time by themselves when they're not feeling bad about it, because they don't even have time to feel bad about that, at least in my opinion.
But that's why okay, I need to compromise my vision. This is what I tell some of my viewers too. I'm like, it's okay to compromise your vision if you're getting like 90% of the way there. Like, if you're almost there and it's not totally perfect, then finish it anyway, because finishing and releasing a game is by far the best way to learn. That's how you teach yourself game dev, is to finish a project, because it takes discipline. Like, making the first tree and then being a dad and working full time, it was not fun after a while. And that's why I totally agree with you. Like, if you're just single and you're going to school or something, that is like the season to just dive in.
Yeah.
And
this is
work
why
your
I'm
butt
here.
off. It was hard. I even, like, right now I'm thinking back on it, I'm like, how did I do that?
I feel the same way, man. Like, I was a bad husband at the time. We didn't have kids when I was making Pinstripe. Like, you can ask my wife. I was so involved and so obsessed with getting everything perfect with that game. And I look back on it, like you said, you've got to compromise. And I want your audience and I want my audience to know, like, it's similar to the feeling of, like, when you're in a fight with a family member, or you're in a fight with a friend or your spouse or something. It's really heated and you're seeing red, right? And you just want to win that argument. That same feeling is what it is for me when I want to get something right with a game. I'm not necessarily I'm not necessarily rational in decision making. And so I look back on all the decisions I made with Pinstripe, and I'm like, why did I spend so much time on those things? Like, little tiny things to make it my way. And I look back on it and I'm like, people don't care about those tiny little things. Now, obviously it's a balance. Like, if you had decided to not make the fox in First Tree look so beautiful, then, and just
It does look beautiful. In case you haven't seen, this is the game actually. It's my desktop wallpaper now. I want my game to look like this as well. I mean, not the forest and so on. I'm not gonna copy the game, but you got my point.
I think the fox is really what sold that game. And by the way, if my audience doesn't know, that game is really popular on Switch, Steam. Did you release on Xbox and PS4?
Yeah, it's on, not on mobile, but everywhere else. Yeah.
So you're, in terms of like success, like you've nailed it, and you've done a really good job with promoting that game and selling it. But if you hadn't focused on I think if you hadn't focused on making that fox as beautiful as it was, then I don't think that game would have sold as well as it did. So there's certain things to not compromise on and certain things to compromise on, and understanding where those things should be compromised, I think, is what separates the great developers from the failed ones.
Yeah, I really like that thought. And I think a way to figure out what you can and can't skip is to release games. And that's my first
Yep.
game. Yeah, it was a financial failure. Like I was happy I did it, but I wasn't quitting my job. I was like, okay, I'll just keep doing my thing. That's cool. But what
Yeah.
it taught me things, and I was able to use that data. It was real data to say, okay, here's what I did wrong. I
Yeah.
didn't market it. I didn't have a lead character to rally around like a fox. It was a first person game. That
Yeah.
made a huge difference.
Hmm.
It wasn't as colorful, and I think those things that helps grab attention in a Steam thumbnail. It was lots
Yeah.
of little things, and I guess maybe I think every game developer has to be an entrepreneur of some kind, but I'm very analytical, and I'm saying like, okay, that didn't work. Here's why did that not work? And it was
Right.
satisfying to be like, I made a list of like, okay, here's the stuff I want to fix for the first tree. Like I want to market it regularly.
Yeah.
I want to spend a lot of time on the fox because that's the focal point of the whole game. But other things, I was like, okay, I can't do that. I can't compose all the music. I'm gonna license the music. I can't do the sound
Yeah.
effects and go out in my backyard and like make jumping sound effects with rocks or whatever. I have to license those. It
Yeah.
was a lot of stuff, and it's still, and you might you might not like this, Thomas, but um, I thought I was terrified of using all the assets because I just knew everyone would know, right?
Yeah.
Everyone would
Totally. I
everyone
totally
would
know the feeling.
everyone would know I was like, oh, I'm an asset flipper, even though I tried hard to
Right.
I tried really hard to modify them, but it was still the same.
Actually, I was thinking about this as well because even in my first game, I mean, first game ever, yes, of course, I used assets. I wasn't like, I got experience in it. But in my second game, the one that I did on this channel, you can watch the video. I did a game in one day. That's what I'm talking about. You will see I've used free assets from the Unity Asset Store. It's not like I built anything by myself. But even with assets, you have to know how to combine them because you can't put everything in there and just pretend it looks great, but it's a mix of colors that they don't belong next to each other and so on. But yeah, I'm also thinking if I will ever want to publish a game like on Steam or Google Play, which is gonna happen by the way, I just don't know when yet. I'm thinking if I should use free assets or not. Let me know what you guys think about this.
Same geometry, same meshes,
Yeah.
but
Well, the reason why I don't do asset, like I've pretty much decided I'm probably not going to do it, be an asset flip kind of guy.
mhm,
The reason why I don't is because the things that I'm really gifted at are illustrate. Like I don't know where your giftings are or where your talents are. It's probably storytelling, and setting the mood, those things. And you also said you're really interested in music. Yeah, I'm not really sure where you believe all of your skill sets are, but for me it's definitely in the art side of things. And
mhm,
so I feel like it would be a mistake for me to pull away from where I'm gifted and what really separates my style out from others. But
mhm,
the thing is that
That's a good
I'm
point.
totally fine using assets that are like code assets
right,
and
Mm.
back end assets. So what I tell my audience is find out where your gifting is, where you're talented, and lean heavily into that, making that custom. But everything
Mhm.
else that you feel like you're not your strong suits, it's just like a regular business, right? You need to
mhm,
outsource it. You need to hire people. Well, in our case, we probably can't afford to hire a couple people for our studios. So go quote unquote hire people by just buying their assets on the asset
right,
store, and they actually will help you out. Like if you email these developers,
Mm.
you just spent $20 on an asset, and I learned this from you, by the way, because we had a meeting in.
Okay, this is a new tip that I feel like is gonna change our life if we will take it into account from now on. So buying an asset that's not that cheap, but not that expensive, something like Thomas said, around 20 euros or dollars, whatever, and then DM the guy or email him or her and ask if they can help you in the future as well. This is a great tip.
I think it was a year ago, and you told me all about your mentality with assets. I
mhm,
started downloading certain assets that I use now, and I'll email these developers, and they will treat me like I'm their boss almost. They'll help me out and write custom stuff for that asset and help me out, which is insane.
You're using third-person controller, right? By Opsiv?
Yeah, I was using that. There was a couple things.
He helped me
really?
so much with the Fox issues, because I was like one of the first people to put a quadruped, an animal, as the controller. And he was
Did you really?
Yeah, like, and he added
That's
stuff
awesome.
later to make it more compatible, but I found out a lot of stuff, and so he helped me a ton. And I like to think maybe I gave him some information so he can make the asset better. And
yeah,
but no, you're totally right, and that's the cool part about this internet age is there's all these resources, and you're helping these other developers, and they make a living by selling in bulk, right? They sell by quantity with these licensing these assets. And it's cool. Like, you can go to all these, like, freesound.org. Like, a lot of them just ask to be credited, and you have whole sound studios and musicians and everything at your fingertips right from the internet. It's this new age of just, you know, you can be a one-man mega studio in a way by like crowdsourcing all these people's help and paying them what they request, which is usually like, I don't know, $50 for a Unity asset, or $50 for licensing a song on Audio Jungle or Pond 5 or whatever. So it's exciting. And yeah, and I was gonna say about, you know, I was always terrified about the environment packs. Like, everyone would notice, and the fact is, you know, I read maybe 10,000 comments over the course of a few years, like from Reddit and emails and Twitter. Not all of them, but only like a handful, like 5 to 10 people said, "Oh, that's that nature pack from Unity." No one really cared. And Pinstripe, I loved Pinstripe. I played it with my girl. Like, I'd get Evelyn on my lap, and we go play. I'd be like, "Hey, what game do you want to play?"
Really?
With? Yeah, I'd be like, "We could play Eastshade, or we could play this game." And she always said, "Pinstripe. I want to play Pinstripe." And as an artist, I noticed all your touches, and I was amazed
I fixed it, Robert. Thank you. I forgot it's just another key.
by it, and that's why you're one of my favorite devs. But
thank you.
I want you to to know, like, it's hard because the lay person, like the gamer who just wants to have a good time and feel some feels, you know, go on a feels trip or whatever. Because I make emotional games. And I think you make games with a lot of heart too. They're story driven.
Right.
I think that's what they want. Indies.
Well, it depends. Like, it really depends on where your target market is. Like, right now, I think I've made two like feels games, like, that have heavy stories, very emotional, poignant endings. And I think what I'm gonna do, and you've kind of gone down this path as well, is I want to try and make some money in the game industry this year, and like make this year, like, maybe that's not what you're doing, but like in terms of making, you know, your courses. But for me, this year, I want to focus on the business side of things, the entrepreneurship side of things, of how do I maybe do a little bit of experimentation. So for me, I'm going to try and hit like 4 games or 3 games in the next year and a half. Just pop them out. Like,
that's awesome.
Fun little short games. Because I want to see what happens, right? I mean, I think it's important for game developers to, this is something I was actually wanting to talk to you about, is I'm of the opinion that indie game developers tend to take themselves way too seriously. Like, for me, I used to be like, I'm going to be a prophet of the game industry. Like, I'm going to make, or like a poet. Like, I'm going to be the one who makes games that really hit people in the feels and change people's lives. And what I've learned is, I think I'm taking myself a little bit too seriously. I think I just need to make games and people are going to enjoy them. And maybe I'll look back one day and say that, you know, it was better for me to focus on super highly emotional games that change the world, as opposed to just fun games, you know, short fun games. Maybe I'll look back and say that, but right now I don't know the answer. I don't know what my role is or my calling is in the game industry. And I think that, like you said, it's important to just release games and not take yourself so seriously. Like, for you, you could have been really cocky and said, I'm not gonna use any assets from the asset store. But instead you were like, no, I just need to get this done. And I think that is the minority of game developers, the way that they think. Most game developers are way too principled. They care way too much about doing things from scratch, and it leads them to never release stuff and never finish stuff. You know?
I think those principles can be, if you're too stubborn with your principles, it can be dangerous if it never leads to you finishing and releasing a game.
Right.
And yeah, I used to beat myself up a lot. I think every creative, they have the imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
And of course I did, because I was like throwing this stuff together because I wanted to tell my story, but it wasn't high art enough. It wasn't principled enough. And me and my wife, she's an artist, and she's a traditional artist. She does collage with paper, and it's fine art.
Oh, that's awesome.
And she's awesome. She's done, she's in galleries and stuff, and we have these conversations all the time. Like, what's the balance between art and commercialization? And it's hard. I don't know if I know all the answers, but I know, like, I love telling my story. I don't want to rip people off, but I want to use these resources available from the asset store, and I want to make them original somehow. And I would rather a game that's imperfect be released than not released at all. And then no one would know that story, even if it's not as high art or as principled as other games, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And that was like kind of the decisions I had to make. Those are I call them like compromising your vision a little bit. And I'm glad I did, because if I didn't, my life would have never changed from releasing my imperfect, honest, beautiful game.
Yep, I would say probably same, Rover, but I don't know. Think so.
The first tree.
Yeah.
So I'm so glad I did that.
That's why if you're listening to this and you're 20 years old, don't take this advice. But I tend
I am exactly 20 years old.
to tell a lot of people, like, go start a family, because when you have a family, suddenly your games are not your babies anymore.
Babies are your babies.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true.
Your babies are your babies. And maybe if you don't want to get married or don't want to have a family or whatever, then instead maybe start volunteering somewhere or helping out in a community, like being with people, as opposed to just working on your game. Because in reality, it's not even your game at that point. It's just you focusing on you. It's like all self-consumed. What am I trying to tell the world? What's my game supposed to be about? How much money is my game going to make? And I've been in that mentality even now sometimes, of being super like selfish of how I make games. And then all of a sudden I'll go hang out with my daughter or my wife. Or like yesterday I went and saw an ultrasound of my baby boy, Silas. Like, all of a sudden that feeling of my games are all about me is stripped away, and it's like, no, my games don't belong to me. They belong to the people who play them. They belong to my family in the sense that it provides for them. They're really not mine. And I think that that's a really good way to approach game development, because you don't get so panicky about every little decision. It's much more relaxed. And I learned a ton of that from you in our call last year, because your approach to games is so, what's the word? It's you're objective about your games. It's, at least it seems that way. You're very business minded. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's how I feel. My perception.
I guess I don't think of it like that. I guess, but you know what it is. And yeah, I never even considered myself like an official entrepreneur, put in my LinkedIn profile, entrepreneur, like hustle, like hashtag hustling or whatever. But it is like, that's what it became after I quit my day job, because the first tree did well enough, because I'm super risk averse. I was like, I'm not going to quit unless we have money in the bank and we have enough that we can live off for a few years. And I was like, okay, I'm going to try this. But the business stuff, I don't know. I do think having dependence and providing for your family, that changes everything.
Yeah.
But also at the end of the day, you want to make this game that you love, but I don't know. I try to explain it to people like there's imagine three circles in a Venn diagram, and you're trying to find the perfect idea of a game that you're passionate about in one of the circles.
Yep.
A game that you're actually able to make with your resources, and then a game in the third circle, the game that will actually market well, or that has like a hook that people actually want to pay money for. And that's like the magic. That's the magic ingredient. Is if you can find a game idea that fits all three of those circles, put it in the middle, then you have something special, and you need to just chase it. And yeah, I guess like discipline comes into entrepreneurship, or you just work even when you don't want to. But yeah, like the idea of like hitting the finish line, that's really important to me. And I think that's also why like I didn't want to like give up, and I also had a plan, and that's why I wanted to do things fast, because if I don't finish this, then all the work was for nothing. And I knew finishing was rewarding, because I released a really small game beforehand. And that's why I tell people over and over and over again, like, finish a game so you know you can finish a game. Then you can go do that in your next game. Then you learn from that, and you do your third game and fourth game. And if you do that, I really don't see how you can't find critical and financial success. It will take a while, but it will definitely happen.
Yeah. Well, tell me a little bit about, I've been curious what that feeling was like when the first tree just went gangbusters. It did really, really well on its Steam launch. And I remember when we were talking, when I first met you, you still were working your day job when it went really well, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So what was that process like? Because you said you're risk averse.
Yes.
For me, I would have just quit my job immediately, like on launch day, seeing the numbers come in. You know, what was that like?
Yeah.
That process.
Oh man, I took a day off. I took a day of PTO to launch my game.
Just one day.
Yeah, just one day. So yeah, Steam released late 2017.
But keep in mind, these guys had a family back then, so it's not like they were without any money, because they had wives, so of course they would provide money, I think. Yeah.
And here's the thing, like I was like crossing my fingers that it would go popular. It would be popular, and by popular I meant it would hit the front page of Steam. Yeah. All of my efforts for like a year of marketing was for one day, and that was launch day. I wanted it to hit the front page in the new and trending tab. Yeah. And so it happened, and I had a game plan. I had I call it my launch blitz checklist. Right. And you actually
Helped me out with my launch with Neversong.
Yeah.
I actually used your course, which again, for my audience, it's in the description. I used David's course to teach me sort of the things, like you said, the launch blitz checklist. And I used that for Neversong. And I mean, like clockwork, man. I was on the front page for 5 days.
That was exciting. 5 days. 5 days was, dude. It was the same as me. 5 days on the front page of Steam with the first tree. And of course, like, you are like an extremely hard worker. Like, that was you. That was your YouTube channel. Like, all your fans.
I don't know,
are what
man.
made it happen.
I don't know. I was talking to another developer on the phone yesterday. I was talking to Joe Russ. And he made a game called Jenny LeClue. And he was like, man, it seems
that's a great game.
He's like, man, it seems. I actually talked about you to him on the phone. I said he needs to get in contact with you because there's a lot to learn for all of us.
He's awesome.
I was talking to. He's really just a fascinating and brilliant game developer.
Definitely.
But he said on the phone, he was like,
I love the thing that this community is so friendly. As I said before, the fact that these guys are becoming even closer and closer as friends, that's amazing. Imagine, as I said, a game made by these two.
Like, man, it seems like you just work all the time. Like, you're doing YouTube and you're making games. And I just admitted to him, and I'll admit it to you now, I work 7 hours a day lately.
Nice.
Like,
No, that's good, right?
I wake up. It is good. I mean, I think I wake up at 8:30 lately. I get off at 5 o'clock. I'll work out in the middle of my day, so I take an hour and a half off, and
Cool.
it's like what I'm learning is I need to start rewarding myself a little bit. I don't have to be in the grind all the time. Like my wife was like, I was telling my wife, I was like, I feel like I'm not working enough, and she was like, well, why did you work so hard at the beginning? And I was like, I guess to achieve this. And she was like, yeah, so enjoy it. So
That's good. That's good
just
advice.
that's a little side note. I don't
Nice.
work that much anymore, and it's because I've learned to work smarter, you know.
No, that's
And
good.
and a lot of that was with your advice, and also the course you did.
Oh, good.
Just really helpful.
I'm glad it helped. And honestly, I was working full time, and then I do about 10 hours a week on my game. So it was 50-hour weeks for a few years. Like not
Yeah.
extra, but it wasn't impossible. Now
So
I'm
just
full-time.
10 hours, just 10 hours on the first
I
tree.
just did 10 hours a week, like maybe 10
Yeah.
to 14 because I'd work on a Saturday.
Yeah, that's good.
And
That's
so
good.
that's doable. And that's
Yeah.
why it sucks when people ask me, they're like, oh, I want to do it your way. I want to make a game, but I'm working 50, 60-hour weeks at my day job.
Yeah,
I'm like, I don't think you can do it. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think that's possible. Like, I think maybe
I've-
quit, get another day job that's 40 hours a week.
Yeah, dude. I've heard that's the norm, and maybe people in the comments can let us know how much they're working. But I had a job where my boss was like, you shouldn't be working more than 40 hours. And so we would clock out at all of us. There was 25 employees. We would clock out at 5 o'clock every day.
Mhm.
And that's what allowed me to go home and have the energy
Yeah,
to make pinstripes.
absolutely. So that isn't important.
So,
I like putting that disclaimer out there because I was working full time, but I wasn't doing crunch. Like I'm not like at Rockstar Games or Naughty Dog, and they're like killing themselves all the time.
Right.
You can't make an indie game on that kind of schedule in your free time.
Well,
But-
it's just
but
not.
yeah.
I don't think it's possible to have that kind of creative energy.
No, you're right.
It's just not. So
I've never had a job. I really wanted to, but my parents were like, focus on your school, on your studies, and you will have enough time to work in your life. But I've always wanted to work to get that sort of feeling. How is it to be like in a team all the time, to collaborate, to accept different perspective and so on. But yeah, I just can't wait to work actually. And imagine having this YouTube channel, trying to work on a game, having courses at the university, and getting a job. That's my plan for the next year. But I still don't know if I will have a job next year or not. In the third year, 100%, because I have to do an internship. I'm forced to do it, but I can't wait to do it. Honestly, I'm very excited about it. I got a choice to, or should I say, I got a privilege to choose the internship by myself, and I'm thinking about something in game development. So if they will accept me, I won't say the company or anything. I will keep that to myself. But imagine if I will get a chance to work there in that environment and meeting people that are doing this every single day. That's just gonna be amazing. It's gonna lead me closer to my end goal, let's say.
But now, like I'm full time now, which is still crazy to me, and I do about 7 hours a day.
Yeah.
A lot.
When it's your own business, you're so much more productive than if you're doing meetings all day at an office. It's very
Oh,
productive
man.
7 hours, I would say.
I agree. I really do agree. And I've learned that when you're working in an 8-hour day at a desk job, you're gonna BS your way through the day. So you're just gonna. I used to jump on social media and just sort of chill a little bit and take my time because I knew the deadline was for a project was like 2 weeks, so I would make it
Thank you very much, Robert. You too, with everything that you have in your mind.
happen in 2 weeks when I really probably could have got it done in a week. You know?
Right. I think everyone does that a little bit.
Yeah.
There's overhead to when working with that many people in a company.
Yeah.
There's red tape.
But when you quit your job and jumped into running your own studio, I'm sure you felt like this desire to be like, okay, I can't screw this up. I got to work hard and get things done, right?
Yeah, it's scary. What gives me a little bit of relaxation is that we have savings, and that if if disaster happened, we would be okay for a couple years, and then I'd be like, okay, I'm getting another day job. We ran out of money.
Yep.
It's stressful. It's the entrepreneur part of being an indie game developer, and that's why. And I think this is cool because you're doing the same thing. You have your fingers in a lot of pies because not one source.
Oh my God, so you have a job, you are working on a game, and you are also studying. I respect you for that. You got all my respect. And I hope you can handle them pretty much. And also, thank you very much for taking out of your time and watching this live stream and watching actually these guys. That means a lot.
Of income can really support a mortgage and children. Children are expensive.
Right.
Houses are expensive.
Yes, they are.
So I like what you're doing, and this kind of goes back to Game Dev Unlocked. Is I want to diversify just income streams, because honestly, that's what a lot of content creators do nowadays. Like even YouTubers, they'll just say like, "Oh yeah, ads, barely anything. We got merch, we got Patreon, we got all sorts of other little things." And so Game Dev Unlocked, it came from this idea of me, like, I love to help people. I answer emails every day from people who...
You're totally different than me.
It's hard because my YouTube channel has been exploding, and now I'm getting to a breaking point. But I love helping people, and that's why I spoke at...
I'll keep this in mind. If I'll ever have a question for David, I will just try to find his email and text him and let you guys know if he actually answered or not.
GDC, I couldn't wait to like explain everything I learned about the first tree, because I wanted to help other developers, because I kept getting emails and they're like, "How did you do it? This is so inspiring." I'm like, well, it's a lot of luck, but luck isn't the only thing. There's a lot of hard work involved in like analysis and data. So Game Dev Unlocked was like, okay, I can answer emails all day for the rest of my life, or I can make this learning resource and make it really good, like put in, tons of money and time into this online school that answers. It's everything I've learned, like every little thing I've learned, I put into Game Dev Unlocked. And there's the paid school, which again, that will help sustain my family. But I also want to do like YouTube videos, like what you're doing. Like I love that you're sharing it with the world. It's exciting to talk to these excited newcomers with game development.
Oh yeah.
Job, I mean, I work with my dad and I'm done with studies and doing game dev and my second career. Wow, that's great. Good luck with your job and everything that you're doing, because that was very, very interesting. And I hope, as I said, you will manage to finish everything that you put your mind to.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And that's what I've learned is people are game development is apparently like a rock star job title. It is weird because it's like, no, I'm just like a sweaty nerd sitting in front of a computer all day. Like what someone commented on one of my videos, said I looked like a Philly cheesesteak. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means, but I can gather that it's just game developers and like myself, we just sit in front of a computer all day and just get greasy while we make games. Like it's the complete.
I saw the hobo comment. They're like, "You look like a trained hobo."
People think I look like a pothead hobo Philly cheesesteak. But my whole point in saying that is that it isn't a rock star job in the slightest. It's really cool when you launch a game and people love it. But I learned that, I talked to some guy came over to my house to spray for spiders and bugs, and he just talked to me. He was a young kid and just wanted to talk about game development. He thought it was so cool. And
that's the best feeling.
Yeah, people love it. And what I've learned is it's really cool, sounds cool, and it is cool. Like you and I have a really cool job. Like it's awesome. But like you said, you really have to, if you want to be successful, you've got to have your finger in a lot of different pies. And you've got to learn to be okay with taking your time on things that aren't necessarily glamorous to keep your studio going. Like all of us can't be as successful as you, even though you're still putting your fingers in a lot of pies. You don't necessarily have to. But for me, for a while, I had to do that. Like I had to do YouTube and Patreon. And so what's the list for me? It's Patreon, YouTube ads, YouTube sponsorships, Kickstarter campaigns every like 2 or 3 years, revenue from all different platforms, and then I would take on freelance every once in a while. So there's just a ton of different places that the revenue is dripping in from, and it adds up. And I don't know, like, do you have any advice for my audience about various places that they can be picking revenue from while they're launching their game? Let's say they've launched their game and it's not making enough money.
By the way, if you haven't seen my latest video, attention video, not live stream, check it out because it's exactly about this thing. How can you make, or actually, how can you monetize your game before and after launching? You will get all the tips and tricks there from this guy, from Thomas Brush, as you can see, who has a lot of experience in this field. And I really recommend you guys watching that video because you will learn a lot. I also learned a lot. Keep in mind that that was a private event, and I literally spend my time rewatching it and recording and editing it for you, so you will have the best slides out there. Let's get back.
Do you have any ideas for them about picking revenue from various places, or should they just keep their job?
Oh man, it's a big question because it's different. It's different for everybody. Here's what worked for me. Even I'll go back, kind of going back to that original question. When the first tree launched on Steam, it did well. I still didn't quit my job because I was so scared. And I made like low 6 figures. But after taxes, and then I was like, wow, what can we use this money for? Let's put a down payment on a house. That was the big thing. Yeah. Almost a ton of the money went to that, and then it was gone.
Good.
It still had a mortgage and stuff. It wasn't that much money.
Oh, really? So you took the money from? So you're saying you took the money from First Tree and put it into a house?
Yeah, just a down
awesome,
payment,
dude.
Just a down payment of a house.
Yeah,
and that was really cool.
It's a huge investment.
Yeah, it was scary because I'd never spent that much money on something, but it felt like the right thing to do with their family. And then,
correct. And then I did the same thing with Pinstripe, by the way.
Cool.
We were able to put like 20% into a house as a down payment. But it also put us into this really risky position of like, okay, can I still support the family though? Full-time game dev, but anyway.
Yeah. And so I still kept my job because I was really enjoying it too. I was at the Void VR like interactive thing in Utah.
Cool. That's awesome.
But it's funny like how even like a dream launch scenario, the money can run out that fast. And so I still didn't quit my job. But then it wasn't until console launch, which that was a scary thing. And here's another reason, Thomas, why you're my favorite game developer. You introduced me to Matthew Tai from Do Games. He is one of the best people I've met.
Who, Matthew Tai? I don't know if I spelled it right, but Matthew. Or like this, maybe? Let's try. Think so. Wait a sec. Let's just search for this guy. This one. I'm not sure, but could be.
Met.
He makes your life so much easier.
He's a genius, and he's so polite and nice.
He is.
And
he is.
He helped me. Like, he took on the first tree, and I told him, I was like, because I do things the wrong way. It's the worst Unity project you've ever seen in your life. And he's like,
I told him the same thing, man.
And I told him, I was like, and I'm crap at C#, so it's a lot of playmaker stuff. And he was like, okay, I think we could work around that.
Yeah.
And he made it happen. And I self-published on consoles. That that was the hardest thing
That's amazing,
I've
dude.
done. That's the hardest thing I've done in my career. And it really, it pushed me to the breaking point because I was still working full time. We had 2 babies, but I was able to do it. And we were launched on console. And then I was like, okay, now I can quit my job. So I think I want to tell your viewers, going back to your question, it's each rung on the ladder is small. Like it's step by step. It's not going to seem like a lot, but then eventually you'll get to the top of this ladder, which is like financial freedom or ability to quit your job. But me personally, like the game dev unlocked way I tell people is don't quit your job. Like it's so risky out there. It is hard for new game developers. It's harder than it was for me in 2017. A lot has changed. And that's why I say, like, okay, if you can make a game wisely, like time.
Hello, Quantum Code, and welcome here. I don't know if you are new on this channel or you've been here before, but anyways, you're very welcome. And thank you guys for being here with me. I saw at some point we were 4 watching, and that's great.
Efficiently, and you take wise shortcuts, and then you can still work your full-time job or even do part-time, do 20 hours a week. Then you could like still work on your game and not get burnt out and not neglect your family.
Right.
So that's like, I think personally, I would not quit a job, even if you made like a few thousand from your game. You're like, oh, it might go up. Like after launch, it's probably not going to go up. Like you just need to make more games. And that's one of my favorite quotes is from a book about Pixar, Creativity Inc. Have you read that?
Pixar Creativity Inc. Let's check. Creativity Inc. Okay. Interesting. I will save this one. You forget me, Lord. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Hold on, I have to see your profile picture.
No, but I've watched like YouTube summaries of it. And
Oh, yes, I know you. I remember you. I remember you for the Lightning Techniques live stream with Unity. Yes, because I do remember profile pictures with names. It's a bit harder, isn't it, in real life as well? I mean, for me, that's how it works. I remember faces, but not names. So I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't know you.
and it's what helped.
Welcome
It's
back.
what helped Pinstripe's story come to fruition.
No way. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I believe so. I could be wrong, but I watched some really really helpful Disney videos. There were summaries of how they do storytelling. But
oh, that's cool. I love that. It's a great book. I think you'd like it. And there's a part where there's the brain team at Pixar Animation Studios, and they talk about one of the most important things you can do as a creative is to fail early and fail fast. And that's why, like, I love Pinstripe, but I start to get like anxiety. I get an anxiety attack that you worked on it for 5 years. It seriously like freaks me out. Like I couldn't have done that and I would have given up, and you kept with it, which is why your achievement is monumental. But it was not, you were not failing fast or failing early. It was just scary to like that you did that. And I don't know.
Yeah, that's nice. Same thing with faces, but not no names. Exactly.
Oh, what do you think about that?
I think that you're right, and I think that I wouldn't. I used to do videos of like go for it, solo developers. You could achieve your dreams. Quit your job. You've got this. And that was like immediately after I did a Kickstarter campaign with Pinstripe, and some money came in, and I signed with a publisher, so it really helped out. And I felt good. I felt like I had done it, But looking back in hindsight, I'm like, I wouldn't wish 5 years of solo development on anybody. That it's really hard, and I'd have, my dad was really supportive, but and there was a lot of people around me who were like, "You've got this, Thomas." But after 4 years of working on it, I remember my dad was like, "What are you doing? Like, are you good?" He called me on the phone. I remember I was in my car at our rental home, and I was like 23 or something. I don't even remember. And I was just on my phone, and he said, "You got to finish this, Thomas. Like,
oh man,
you're making me nervous." And my brother said the same thing. I have 3 older brothers. One of my brothers was like, "Are you going to finish the game?" And I realized at that point that, all right, this is enough.
You have
Like
to do it.
it's time to wrap this up. And so I scrambled to get it done. And that is, I think, the point of again separating out successful game developers from failed ones, which is you gotta just start finishing stuff, and you've got to get it done. There's really not a lot of value, I don't think, in making a really great game over the course of 5 to 10 years of your life. Like that's a huge gamble. Not everyone's going to be, what was it, Owlboy or Stardew Valley? One of those games took forever, and they got really, they made a great game. Yeah, they made a great game, but they got lucky. I mean, lucky in the sense that, one, from a launch perspective, and just getting the visibility at the right time, but they were also lucky that their vision was good, and they had good instincts. Most game developers, they don't have the luck of good instincts and good vision. And so you've really got to form that over a long period of time of releasing content and reading, like you said, reading comments, thousands of comments that turn your stomach upside down.
Yeah, I hate it. I try not to anymore, but you just can't help. You just can't help it when like a Reddit post going viral. You just got to look a little bit.
Oh, dude, you said the word Reddit just now, and literally my stomach, like I got a pain in my stomach.
I'm gonna be sick.
Do you know? I don't know exactly how to pronounce his name. Brackeys, I think. Yes, of course I do. He used to be very popular on YouTube. Then he took a break of 2 years, sorry, and now he's back with Godot. And as I promised, I have one more exam on Friday, this Friday, and then I'll be done with my exams. And I promise after that I will try Godot in one day. I will try Unreal in one day, but give me more time, guys, because I also have to edit that. I will post them as normal videos. I won't do live streams because it's more interesting and entertaining to try them that way, and also funnier, I think. So yeah, prepare because amazing content is gonna appear. Just give me a bit more time to manage and record everything. I also have other stuff to do after I finish this this university year. But yeah, the guy is great. I love his tutorials. Maybe I'm gonna use them. What do you think about him? And not only you, what you guys think about him?
I need to go.
Yeah, well, it's Reddit. Okay, so what I've learned, and maybe we could talk about this from a marketing perspective, because you're a marketing genius. Reddit is
I just finished my first year's exam today. I'm also starting that. Good job. I hope it's gonna be very interesting and you will have a lot of fun doing it at uni. Great.
the place to catch fire, but it's also terrifying because it can it can catch fire and then start like collapsing into dust, your Reddit post into ash with like just comments of people that could be rude or mean or put ill will on you or make you feel like a fraud.
Yes.
It's the same is true with Twitter. Twitter is a mess.
Yes.
But
I got death threats for making a Fox game, and I just don't think that's right.
wait, what? Where?
Twitter on Reddit. Like when you have every like bored internet troll, and you're on the front.
Good luck with your studies, Quantum and Nox. Thank you very much, Robert. You too.
Page, you're an easy target, and so people are just like, I'm gonna kill you for making this stupid indie game or something. I'm like, I don't know, I don't remember. It's probably not. It's probably shouldn't laugh about it, but I don't know what else to do. Like it's just that's what happens when everyone's targeting you.
I laugh because that's like the only thing I can do, because when I've been with your help, by the way, with your advice, I've been front page 3 times on Reddit.
3 times,
and
nice.
3 times, and I think 2 of them was with your advice of like, make sure your GIF looks this way and make sure you've got a cool title, and it drove sales. Like we had a really good Switch launch with Pinstripe. But one of the common comments I get on Reddit and Twitter is like, why do we need all these stupid hipster games? Like, why do we need all these trendy, artsy-fartsy games? Why do they all look the same? You know?
Mhm.
And I get it. Like, it's a good comment. I mean, it makes sense if you're not into those kinds of games. But people can be hurtful, you know, and people can be hurtful on
Yep.
YouTube as well.
Yeah.
And you know what's crazy is after
I'm very happy I got you guys by my side, and it's a lot of positivity on my channel in general. Like, I don't think I ever received something mean or that made me feel very bad. No, it's just right from the moment I appeared here, there was a lot of support. So thank you very much for sticking with me.
three I've been making games for 10 years, but it's been like 4 years of actually being exposed to a community critiquing me.
Right.
Even after 4 years, I still, like, last night somebody said something on Twitter or something, and it really bugged me. It like kind of hurt me. And
Mm.
I like reached out to them like, "Hey, what's going on? Like, can we talk about this?" Um Things still bother me. And so my skin is not thick enough yet. And I need to keep putting out content, so hopefully one day it won't bother me so much. And a lot of indie developers out there are scared of one single comment that crushes their ego, you know?
I would say that was me, and I'm still like I'm just really
What do you mean it's nothing, Rover?
sensitive emotionally,
Yeah, me
and
too.
I've gotten better because I'd rather feel uncomfortable or get a hateful comment if
By the way, they just started talking about life problems from gay dev techniques. Yeah, that's true. But isn't this life like they're switching subjects, but I really admire these two guys. They are my favorite, literally. You will see a lot of content from these guys on my channel because I've heard a quote at some point that said, take advice from the people that you would love to switch your life to or change your life with. Of course, I don't want to become Tom Brush or David right now, but I want, let's say, a game that's gonna reach a lot of people and they will really love the game. So, yes, I would change my career with them, not myself. You got the point.
that means that people who do love my game find my game. And that's what
Right.
you got to remind yourself. Like, I could focus on the negative reviews on Steam, and they probably they have a lot of good points. Like, my game's not perfect, but then I think about all the people. Like, I get the most amazing messages from people all over the world, and they're like, you saved me from like a really dangerous depression. I thought I was gonna
Yeah.
kill myself. Like, your game
Yeah.
helped bring that. You helped bring me out of that. Thank you. You'll always have my debt. I will take 500 million hateful messages if it means that like a handful of people are like, you like saved me. You like,
Yep.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I got another email last week. This mother with a little girl with severe autism. Like,
Mm.
she has a really hard time connecting with people, and she doesn't talk much. And she just said, like, she just plays my game all day, and now like she's happier and she's talking
Yeah.
more, and that she's reaching out to people and giving hugs more, and it just
Sweet.
blew my mind.
That's amazing, man.
And
That's
it's
so
the best
cool.
it's the best feeling in the world. And I know, like, people, it's a free country. They can hate my game, they can hate how I make my games, they can hate that it's artsy, but I'm making the game I wanted to make, like,
Yeah.
100%. And
Yeah.
it's amazing. Like, I feel I'm very blessed, I'm very fortunate that people liked it too. I got lucky. I put a lot of work in, but I got lucky as well, and I'm really fortunate. And I think you would say you're fortunate and lucky too.
Yeah, no, I am. I'm really lucky. I'm mainly lucky because, a lot of people think of themselves, and this might be a little bit too philosophical for some people in the audience. Maybe it's not. I don't know, but you know, I like to think that my fortitude got me through game development, and I pushed through and I worked hard.
You did.
But
That is true.
it is true. It's one of the dominoes that fell, but there were a
Yeah.
ton of other dominoes that fell. I'm really blessed and lucky that I was born into a family where my dad told me that I could do this stuff. Like, my dad was really encouraging. I remember when I released Coma.
Same. I also told my dad I learned in uni. Imagine I actually first got into game development this January. Half a year passed already. Jesus, wow, I can't believe it. But yeah, I did only two projects in Unity. I told my dad, and he was like, "That's so cool. That's so cool. You can literally work from home. You can do your games." He got so excited about this idea that he even made me more excited than I was. My mom was a bit skeptical at first. She was like, "Games? Really? Is that what you want to do the rest of your life?" I mean, don't get me wrong, she also admires my passion for this, but she's just a bit I don't know, she's thinking more into the future. I'm just like her. I also do that a lot. But honestly, at the moment, I can picture myself in 10 years from now saying, yes, I can do this. 10 more years. It won't bother me. So we will see what the future is gonna be like.
My first game, which was a Flash game,
Mhm.
in 2010 or in 2009, I released that game, and it made like $10,000. Like, whoa, where did that come from? And we went
Nice.
out to lunch.
Well,
We went out to lunch, and he was like, "You should try this. Like, do this as a job." And I don't know if I would have done that if he hadn't
mm,
told me to give it a shot, and believed in me. And I hope that people like you and me can be that sort of figure to people who don't have that. And we can say, you can actually do this. You can make games, and mentor people. I know I've mentored a few people, and my goal is to just say, you can do this. You don't, like you say, you don't have to quit your job. You don't have to go nuts. You don't
Mhm.
have to be this crazy entrepreneur. You don't have to be crazy talented. All you got to do is have some discipline, some follow through, and make a
Patience.
small patient. Yeah, make a small game, make another one, and like you said, you're climbing the
Mhm.
ladder,
Yeah.
and hopefully, you get to the top of that ladder, and then you find another one, or I don't know how long the ladder is. I guess the ladder depends on what you want to achieve.
Yeah.
But
exactly
it
what
just
we
I
you
just
said.
got to
got
work
my
hard.
first.
You know.
You're right. I was just thinking about the new ladder, and you're very, you have a high quality YouTube channel, established fan base. But
Yeah.
I just got partnered, which was a really big deal to me because I've always wanted to do YouTube. It's kind of been like another
Yeah.
dream of mine. And I
Oh,
just
it's
got
blowing up for you, man.
oh, it's crazy. But I got like
Yeah.
I got $10 in ad revenue, so I went to Taco Bell and got a $5 box. And I'm like, yes. I
Yes.
ad YouTube ad revenue paid for my Taco Bell. That was a good feeling. It's like
That's great.
little wins that want to make you keep going
Yep.
and stuff. And
And
that's
those
oh, sorry,
those
go ahead.
little wins, no, those little I was just going to say those little wins are little drips of income that slowly create a pond, and maybe an ocean. Who
Yeah,
knows?
exactly. It is drop by drop, and you weren't successful the first game. I can't think of one like mega hit indie developer that was the first game
Yeah.
was all that and made
I can't
ton
either.
of money.
What about Jonathan Blow
He made a
with
ton of games before that.
oh, really?
Yeah, before Braid. I do feel like Braid was like his major release where he hired an artist and stuff, but he has tons of games before that.
Right. Okay. Yeah,
Um,
I had released and this is something our the people listening, the audience listening to this need to realize is you're right. Most game developers are going to spend several years, maybe 3 years, just sort of goofing off, making weird games, releasing them, getting
mhm.
bad reviews. I know I made. I mean, Coma was my first game in quotes there, but before that, I had other games that I had released on Newgrounds.com
Yeah,
that were
that's awesome.
junk. You know.
Well, bye, Knuckle, gotta go. I'll watch the stream when I get free time. See you around. Thank you very much for staying here 1 hour. It was great having you by my side, and thank you once again helping me fixing the mic. Take care, and yeah, see you next time.
I released horrible. I'm gonna do a video about it on my channel soon. I want to show all my first mods that I released,
Yeah.
and they're the
Yeah.
worst. In fact, it's community from 2000, like 2001. It's like 20 years old, and everything's still there, including the user comments. And
Yeah.
they're always like the meanest thing, saying like this isn't even a level. It should be removed.
Yeah.
It was something
Well,
like I
that's
worked
the
my butt off on. It's
I
part of the
know.
process. You fail a ton.
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
okay. And you just keep making stuff, and you know you need your love for it. You know you want to do the things you love, but if you love making games, then just keep doing it. It'll work
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, and I remember it when I was at my day job. I had to print out quotes and stick them all over my cubicle of like quotes about failure and why failure is good, because I felt like a failure all the time when I was, because I had, you know, until you release your first game or your second game, you don't really know who you are in terms of a game developer. You don't know what you're capable of. I keep forgetting that. Like I have a view of myself right now in my head, and it's based on years of experience of discovering my talents as a game developer from feedback, right? But when you don't have that feedback, you don't know who you are as a game developer, if you're even capable of making something good. And so it's those failures that are going to inform you of what you're good at, what you're not good at, and where to get some help, where to download some assets, and where not. You know?
Absolutely. It's cool. It's real-time data. And I don't know, I've worked for companies where they pay like 6 figures to get useful data like that, but for an indie developer, you can get data just by releasing a simple game, looking at engagement, looking at your analytics. So when the first tree launched on Steam, I had an inkling it would do well. I didn't know, so I was still like sick to my stomach. But I knew because I'd posted GIFs regularly for like over a year. And I kept posting. I was like, okay, that actually went viral. That Twitter GIF went viral. Oh, I got on the Reddit front page. I think that's a good sign. It was data, really. It said, okay, there's interest. And that's why I was like, I need to finish this because now I have this information that tells me, hey, people might want to buy it. And that's like, and I kept it, it's just, maybe that's where like the entrepreneur, like the business minded stuff comes, because you want to marketing isn't like this evil thing. It's not this dirty word. It's just finding people that will love your product. And you just need to tell them, hey,
Please make a Discord server and make a small non-conformist community. Well, Quantum Code, stick around, buddy, because I will do that. I wanted to keep it a surprise. In my mind was once I will hit 100 subscribers, I will do that. Just to show you some, I don't know. I will be probably very, very happy once we will hit 100 subscribers. So in my mind was like, I will create that, yes. But honestly, I would love to just grow this community even more and then do the Discord server so people can actually join. It's not gonna be 3 of us. I want more people out there talking about a lot of stuff. So yeah, stick around because it is gonna come at some point. It's gonna be here.
product exists. Thank you for telling me. I love it. I'm so glad you told me. To me, that's marketing. You need to find that audience.
Right.
And
What's what are some things that you did for First Tree?
I guess I can read minds. Yes, buddy. Um, actually, I got this suggestion multiple time. I think it's the third time I got it, but I'm very happy you guys would be interested in it. So it's not like I'm gonna create it and no one's gonna join. I mean, I know at least 4 people that really want to be there. So that's just gonna be great because we will already have a base, a start. So yeah,
Uh, that what are some
3 of us. Yeah, that's gonna be the name of the Discord server. The 3 of us.
marketing things that you did? Did you do a lot of prep? Like, did you spend a year just putting out gifts? How long was the marketing process? I guess. What did you do?
Man, yeah, it's a big question. Really simply, I started with the visuals first, development style, where it's like, and because I'm more of an artist anyway, I was making the visuals first, so I had stuff to show first.
I will also do that. I mean, that's what I did with my first video, the one I made the game in Unity in one day. So the visuals are very important for me as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'd fine tune like gameplay mechanics and level design later. But yeah, so I had stuff as soon as possible. I set up a Steam store page as soon as possible and a website, because that's how you funnel. That's how you funnel in people who are interested. You have a place for them to go and to give them your email or a wish list on Steam. So you need those places. And then I marketed concurrently during development. So I'd work on my game for about 7 hours a week, and then I'd make GIFs for 2 to 3 hours a week. And I usually
Man,
post.
Hold
I
on.
marketed concurrently during development. So I'd work on my game for about 7 hours a week,
So he worked on his game 7 hours a week.
and
Okay.
then I'd make GIFs for 2 to 3 hours a week.
Mm-hmm. I will write this down just as a principle of a work ethic. So 7 hours working every week and 2 to 3 hours. Okay.
And I usually
man, dude.
posted, yeah, I usually posted in a variety of places. I tried them all, really. Like Tumblr, Twitter, Imager, Reddit, 9gag, even.
So Tumblr, is that still alive? Reddit, Twitter, 9gag, he said.
Tried them all, really. Like Tumblr, Twitter, Imager, Reddit, 9gag, even, which actually had a few viral gifs on 9gag.
I don't even. I remember you gave me the list. I was like, "What's 9gag?
It's
Like,
just a meme
is it like
site.
4chan?"
Mm-hmm. I've seen their page on Instagram, I think years ago, yeah.
No,
Yeah.
not 4chan, but it's that. Yeah, I'm not gonna do that. But
Yeah.
4chan it's just a meme site where you can submit
gotcha.
stuff.
Cool.
And I learned, like, what helped, because I had analytics, right? I could look at my email list or my wish list and be like, okay, Imager got me a lot of wish lists. Maybe I'll keep focusing on that then.
Yeah.
And maybe the best way to put it is, and this applies to any creative job, really, like it includes YouTube, it includes game development. I think the ability to honestly self-evaluate and to pivot is one of the greatest indicators of success.
Man,
And
dude, it seems so simple, but
yeah,
most
like,
people don't. They don't look at themselves from a objective point
yeah.
of view.
You're
You know?
right.
Are you willing to be in the day? Of course. This is why I created this channel, to have a start.
It's hard, and I guess maybe it comes, I don't know, maybe it comes a little easier for me. I don't know. I just know that it's cutthroat out there. You need to do everything in your power to stand out, because the floodgates are open. Like, game development's been democratized.
It's crazy.
And it's cool.
It's
I love
crazy,
that.
dude.
I love that.
Yeah.
But it means
Yeah.
it's hard. You have to show off your show off your feathers, like get attention. Like, you have to shout, almost say, "Hey, look at my game." And it's
One
hard
of your
for, like,
pieces of advice to me with Neversong, with marketing, you said, don't beg your audience to wishlist the game, Thomas, but kind of do. You know, you gotta
Yeah.
really put yourself out there, and it can feel embarrassing, but you've got to sell it. You've got to sell it, because otherwise you won't.
You wear a lot of hats. Like, you're a solo entrepreneur, solo game developer, and I know actually you worked with certain.
When is the first gaming dropping? Game, you mean, I think. Oof, that's a good question. I don't know either. The thing is, I don't know if you saw my video. I created a game in one day in Unity. But, and also, a subscriber asked if I can give him a link to play the game. And I said, I would love to, but I feel like I want to work more on it, add more levels, and transform it in an actual game. So if I will take the first game and I will try to add a story, build more, um, actually combine more assets and make it even more entertaining and fun and so on with the astronaut, it's gonna be a great game. I don't know. I will try my best to finish as early as possible. I can promise a time because I don't know either. This summer, we will work on C Sharp, which is the code for Unity. I have to prepare a bit more for the coding part, even though we got ChatGPT. It's gonna be great if I will have a base of that myself. Then maybe we can work in Blender to create our own assets. because at some point could be even more useful. Stories. Well, that's probably something I'll do by myself, or actually watching even more podcasts or reacting to more game devs videos, because that might help and speed up the process. Music. We can also create music because I know some free tools that I can use. Maybe on live streams. Maybe I can do live streams with everything, not with the actual game, because that's gonna be, of course, a surprise, sort of. Maybe I'll just do like weekly or monthly video in which I'll tell you, okay, this is what I added this month. So yeah, sort of a resume. Why you don't try Unreal? Quantum code, stick around, buddy, because I will try that as well. It uses C++, which is easy to learn compared to C sharp. Yeah, that's true. I agree. I've tried C++ and C sharp, and I also find C++ easier than C sharp. I agree 100% with that. But the thing is, to respond to your question, if I will want to get a job in game development in 2 years from now, basically in my last year of university, Unity is the one that companies want to work in most of the time. There are a lot of tutorials out there on YouTube that I can watch and receive answers faster to my questions, because Unreal doesn't have that big community, sort of. But I will also do a video next week, next few weeks. I don't know exactly when. As I've told you before, I don't know if you've been here, but I told this at the beginning of the live stream. I will have my last exam this Friday. After that, I will try my best to record videos, because it's a lot easier to do live streams compared to videos, because videos I have to edit them and I also have to record them, which takes a lot of time. But I want to try Unreal and Godot as well, as I've told you. So yeah, we will see. If listen, if I will somehow fall in love with Unreal, I might switch and I will move there and do anything in Unreal. But we will try. We will try and see.
Serenity Forge, they're
Yeah, and
awesome.
I'll probably keep doing that. I love partnering with studios now.
That's
As long as
awesome.
I can be the art director, I love
Mhm.
partnering. It's just it goes so much faster.
See, that's something I'm actually looking into. That's something I'll probably be
Yeah.
asking you in the future, because for the first
Hey,
time, I want to do something like that.
yeah, it's I actually talked to a pretty big studio. People would know the name, and I just can't say who it is. They said that they're considering making that part of their business plan, just partnering up with developers.
Cool.
And so behaving as it's like instead of going and hiring developers, you just say, hey, let's split the revenue, make a game twice as fast, you know.
Oh, cool. That's
So
interesting.
anyway,
That's exciting.
Hmm.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's you wear a lot of hats as a game developer, and one of those hats, you're a salesman. And I hate sales personally, but I love making games
yeah,
and I want people to play them, so I'll wear that hat reluctantly, but I'll wear it so people play my game, and also so I can feed my children. That's important.
yeah, exactly.
To me.
Well, I've learned, this is gonna be so bad, but I don't care. The older I get, the more fun it is to make money. Like when I was younger, I didn't really think about money. It didn't really cross my mind. And the older I get, it's like, yeah, let's do some marketing today and see if we could sell some games. It's just a little bit funner. I don't know why. I think it's probably just having a family or whatever, but it shouldn't be a bad thing to want to make some money, because it
No.
means you can make games because you make money,
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
like my home is where one starts money. I put it towards the first tree and was able to pay for it. I don't think I would have
Yeah.
been comfortable paying. I spent around 10,000 on the first tree. I don't think I would have been comfortable if I was just using my personal money for that. Money
Yeah.
money buys you experiences. It buys you freedom, and it buys you, the ability to be a storyteller. So it's not a bad thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's funny when you say it was $10,000
Money basically are buying you the time that you need.
to make first tree. Technically, it wasn't though, right? Because you spent 5 hours a week, and what's your billable rate? You know,
That's true, and
or
that's
10
that's
hours.
something.
Was it 10 hours a week?
I've had this discussion before, and I kind of go, hear me out on this. If you love, I could be wrong, and people in the comments can say if I'm being wrong.
Yeah.
But I do freelance and stuff. But like, do you expect to get paid when you're like loving, like you're playing Mario Maker 2 on Switch, and you're just making these levels, and you're just loving it, and you're like, okay, that will be $30 an hour for my time making Mario Maker levels. I don't know. Like I loved making the games. It was my passion.
The question is, right, but for me, I've had the question come to me, which is like, especially when you're full-time game dev, because then your time is really valuable, because it's like it's during hours that you could be spending making money somewhere else.
Yeah.
So 8 to 5
true.
o'clock, what's your billable rate? So for me, I've started to think of a billable rate for me. And the reason why is because when you partner with other development studios, they're going to ask you what your budget is. If you say your budget is 10 grand, they're going to be like, what? So you have to be like, okay, well, actually I make what, $50,000 a year or whatever minimum. That's, and if I spend a year and a half, it's actually going to be, you know, whatever. I can't even do the math there. $75,000, $80,000 or whatever. 75,000.
That's interesting.
$75,000 for the budget. That's the budget, because I am making money, or I would be making money somewhere else if I wasn't making this.
You're
game.
working on a project that will generate revenue.
Correct.
That makes sense.
And I learned that from Will Dubé. I think that's how you say his name, Dubé. Dube. He's in Canada, and he made he's the CEO of Thunder Lotus Games, and he made
cool.
he made, I think you and I talked about him at one point. He made this game called Jotun.
Oh yeah, the Viking game with the traditional animation.
Yeah.
It looks
correct.
awesome.
And right, and he was
Hold on.
advising me once. This was
Let
like
me actually.
yeah.
He's in Canada, and he made he's the his name.
That makes sense.
And I learned that from Will Dubé. I think it's
Okay, let's search for this guy. Game dev. Willem Dube. Okay, yeah. I think this is him. Which one? Maybe game. Under Lotus. Okay, so the one that they mentioned. Like Canada. So okay, let's connect with this guy. Hold on. Who? I want to see the actual game.
how you say his name, Dubé. Dube. He's in Canada, and he made he's the CEO of Thunder Lotus Games, and he made
cool.
he made, I think you and I talked about him at one point. He made this game called Jotun.
Oh yeah,
Jotun.
Hmm. I want to see the visuals a bit more, maybe on Steam, I think. Could be. Or actually, Steam. Oh, okay. Enter in the. It looks interesting. It looks like a story. Okay. I like it. I really like it. Okay, we'll take a screen.
Yeah, the Viking game with the traditional animation.
Yeah.
It looks
Correct.
awesome.
And right, and he was advising me once. This was like 2 or 3 years ago, and he said, okay, so what's your billable rate? And I was like, what? I don't do that. I'm not charging myself. And he's like, yeah, you are. I mean, you're paying your mortgage, you're living a life, but at the same time you're working to pay for that. So what is your billable rate? And so I had to figure out, what's my time worth? And that really helped me realize, like, when I was spending time, you know, being a perfectionist about something, I was like, wait, if I had a client who I was making a game for, would I be doing this? Would I be
that's good.
obsessing?
That's interesting.
Right. So it's helped me a lot be more, I think the word is objective with my who I am and who I am as a game developer and what my project is about. Because if time is money, you got to be a lot more careful with your decision making, you know?
Yeah. That, and this reminds me of something that I love, celebrating our similarities. Me and Thomas Brush. I think that's cool. We have so much we have so much, that's similar. But I think the biggest difference between us is you're very experienced and you're very like publisher driven. And I tell people exactly the opposite. I say people, you do not need a publisher.
Right.
And I'd love to hear your thoughts on like you're a big cheerleader for publishers and for the smaller publishers. And I feel like I'm the opposite where I'm like, publishers, they're a middleman. You can self-publish on consoles by yourself. You don't need them.
Well, it depends, right? So, and then I would love to hear your opinion, the other side of it. So for me, publishers provide two things, and these are not traditional things. Traditionally, a publisher provides you with marketing, distribution, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. That's not really what a publisher, in my opinion, should be offering you as a game developer. Because you don't really need... you don't really need someone to help you with distribution in quotes. Like that's basically a glittering generality that means nothing now, because Steam is handling your distribution. Switch is handling your distribution. If you were selling books, you would need help, but you're not selling books. You're selling digital copies, little keys of your game.
Right.
So where a publisher provides value is they give you money so that you can quit your job so you don't have to be miserable. That's the first part. So 50,000 to like 200 grand, bang, in your account, and you can get started. They're going to take 30% of your revenue or 50% or whatever. But at least you can quit your job and make your game twice as fast.
Full time.
Right.
Yeah.
Full time with so basically you're working for a publisher now, right?
Yeah.
And then what they're going to do is they're going to recoup that. So not only are they going to take 40%, they're also going to recoup it up. So when I launched Pinstripe, I had to recoup a certain amount of money that I can't disclose. And it was so painful because it was like 4 months of not making.
If you want more details about it, make sure you will watch my latest video that I posted with top tips to monetize your game before and after launch with Thomas, of course. It's very, very useful, and you will see him talking about that more.
Making any of that money. But I realized, I was like, well, at least I was able to quit my job and finish this thing, because I wouldn't have finished it otherwise, So that's the first step, or the first reason why I love publishers is just money. So basically they're just investors, really. They're not really publishing, they're just investing.
So the big number one thing is like the freedom to focus full time on your game.
Yep. And
let's say if you have a job that has nothing to do with game development, nothing, literally, like you are, I don't know, you're working in completely another field, and you feel like it takes you away from your true passion, which is game development. In my opinion, it's better to have a publisher. But if you, let's say, work for a marketing company, stay there more time, because I feel like you will learn tips and tricks for them to promote your game. If you also work in, I don't know, video editing, something like that, for example, it's gonna help you out building your teaser, your trailer, sequences from your game to market it. So yeah, make sure you choose the right field. If not, you can sign up with a publisher, but keep in mind all the necessary steps. As I said, you can watch my latest video, because you will find out a lot of things in there about that. But yeah.
you get rid of that misery of, and so like now the question is, well, Thomas, why do you want to work with publishers again when you said you were in a really good position financially? Well, I'm only going to work with a publisher if they can provide developers. So in a sense, I'm not really partnering with publishers anymore. I'm partnering with developers that work at a publisher. So that's why I love Serenity Forge. Serenity Forge handles publishing and they handle development if you're willing to negotiate a reasonable revenue share. I've come to discover that sometimes almost half of the revenue is reasonable because they cut your development time down. You don't have to worry about all of these different variables about making a game because they're handling a huge boulder of development that you otherwise couldn't do, you know? So that's my only two reasons.
That makes sense. It's just interesting. There's so many ways to go around it because I like, I don't know. I like staying independent. Did I tell you I had big publishers approach me for the first tree. One was so big, I don't even know if I can say it, but they do AAA games. And I was so freaked out by it because I was like, oh, this could be life-changing. But then I started thinking about it and how I liked the hobbyist aspect of it and how like I didn't have to answer to anybody. I think what's cool about your deal with Serenity Forge is you're the creative director. Like you have full creative control. Is that right?
So I've signed 3 publisher agreements in the past. One of them I got completely screwed over and I learned my lesson, right? And I had an attorney for all 3. And so the first attorney was like, for the first publishing agreement was like, Thomas, be careful of all of these things. And I ignored him and just signed anyway. That was a terrible agreement. The other two that I signed, my attorney was like, you've got to tell them that you're in complete control of everything. And I said, okay. And so I told the publisher, I told Armor Games and Serenity Forge, and this is fine. They wouldn't mind me telling you. I told them that I was in complete control, and they were like, we trust you. I don't know why. Wow,
that's awesome. That's like a dream team.
Yeah. No, it's amazing. And so it wasn't just control of the art or the game. It was control of the schedule, everything. Mm-hmm. So like, I didn't even have a schedule in the contract. A lot of publishers will be like, and you know, this is fair. If I was a publisher, I would demand this. I would say, look, if I'm going to give you $100,000, you need to get the game done in a year. Like I can't just sit here and wait for 4 years to get my money back. Mm-hmm. So I get that from a publisher perspective, but the publishers I've worked with, Serenity Forge and Armor Games, I connected really well with the CEOs. Like we're like friends. Like I text Armor Games CEO all the time. Serenity Forge's CEO, his name is Z. Z
is the man.
He's awesome.
He's so nice.
He's so great, and he's probably we're all kind of the same age, I think. So we sort of are in a similar like a age group, and we just, at least me and Z, I mean, we connect really well.
Jive.
We just jive, and so there wasn't a need for him to go, well, I want you to have the game done in, a year, and I want, this is what the budget is, and I want to have, a say in the creative direction. He didn't say any of that. He just said, make a great game, Thomas, and here's a developer to help you out. And to me,
That's cool. That's awesome.
That is a really great deal. And I when I signed the deal with Serenity Forge, I was like, wait, is this a bad idea? Because I gave up a good chunk of revenue. And over the years, I learned this was the best thing that could have happened, because we made a really good game with the help of Eric, who was the developer, the coder. Eric programmed an amazing game, and I was able to focus all my attention on what I do well.
Right.
And we partnered with Apple. We got a front page on Steam for 5 days. We're about to launch on Switch and
that's amazing.
And a few other platforms.
That's
it just
an indie
worked
success.
out.
That's an indie success by far.
Yeah, and so I want to know your perspective on things, though. Like, do you feel like if a publisher would have said, "I want you to have full creative control," would you have considered signing with them?
Oh man, that's an interesting question. I'm thinking about how it worked out for you and how it's been great. Here's something I do want to say. This is to everybody listening. If it's your very first game and you're just getting out of, you're just finally entering this whole new world of game development, and you get a bunch of publishers that you've never heard of saying, hey, let me help you with marketing and publishing.
Yes,
I would say
I agree.
99.9% that is not a deal you want to make.
Yes.
And I would say you have an awesome partnership with Serenity Forge. And it sounds awesome. I might be tainted by, when I was working on Home is Where One Starts, countless publishers saying, oh, yeah, you need us. Like, you're not going to succeed without us. And all they do is siphon. It's all they do is they slap their name on it on the Steam page, and they siphon 40% of your funds for no reason. But what you did is you made games first, and you made a name for yourself. You had Unity fly out, make a film about you, and you finished games. That's the way to get a publisher. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
What I would say is, when you're first starting off, making your very first small games, I don't think there's any reason to get a publisher at the beginning.
Yeah.
So you heard them, guys.
It's a really, really good point and a really good perspective. You know, I always say, me and my wife talk about this. I talk about work a lot, and she probably gets annoyed.
Like my wife. Yeah. Okay.
But when we talk, I always say, I'm just so lucky to have a really dedicated YouTube audience, because if I ever get screwed over by a publisher, they're not going to be happy. My backers, people who got my back.
Nice. And here I am, guys, and thank you very much for being here with me as well.
And so I always say, if you're gonna,
don't you dare,
you know, if you're gonna partner up with a company that you don't know, be sure you've got some ammunition.
Yeah, definitely.
Because they do. I promise you, they do. They've got money. They've got a team of people.
Lawyers.
They've got lawyers. They've got everybody. And this is not true for Serenity Forge or Armor Games at all. But I can speak to having experience with another publisher where behind closed doors, like I'm in South Carolina, they're off in California or somewhere, or where were they? They were somewhere in the Midwest. And I knew that they were talking about what they were going to do to screw me over. And they didn't see it that way. They just saw it as business as usual. Yeah. But what they were doing to screw over an 18-year-old, well, I didn't know any of that. And so I wasn't talking to them. And so they had all this ammunition against me, this power. And so it's really important for indie developers to have power behind them. And it doesn't necessarily have to be cash. It definitely can be a lawyer that you paid $4,000 to help you out. But it can also be in the form of a social media following, which is so huge. And you're doing that right now, and you're killing it. You're doing a really good job. And I want all of my all of the people watching this or listening to this podcast to know that you can't put a price tag on an army that supports you.
Wow, that's cool. No, I'm seeing the vision. And just, you know this about me. I suck at programming. So the idea of having someone you trust, and that's
so
the hard
do I.
part too. You're like, who can you really trust? But having someone, if you found that person and a team that like supports you and got your back. And did Serenity Forge help with the Apple thing, by the way?
I can't talk about that.
Okay. But they probably helped. They helped in a lot of ways, I'm sure.
They helped. They here's what I'll say. Conversations that I don't want to have, I don't have to have.
That's the life.
Yeah, and I'm learning that it's almost like what you would think of as a writer. Like I always wanted to be like basically what a writer in my head was, walking around in pajamas smoking a pipe. And you just go and you sit on your typewriter and you write for a couple hours. Then you go outside and sit on a hammock. And then
I also wanted to become a writer, and I still want to do that. I love writing. The thing is, I can't do it continuously. I just take breaks. But yeah, it's in me as well.
you get up out of bed at 3 a.m., have an idea, write it down. And other than the pipe, which that would be awesome. Other than the pipe, that's my life now. Is I get to walk around in my pajamas, come up with fun ideas. I don't have to talk to anybody. I do YouTube and stuff,
It's the
and
life.
I mean, come on though. I think you've got it too, right?
I
Things are working
do.
well for you.
It's just yeah. I'm such an introvert, and
Yeah,
but also you get a little lonely. I don't. It's this weird. It's the paradox of game development where you just I don't know. It's the paradox of being an introverted entrepreneur, of a business person. That's what it is. But no, you're right.
Yeah.
Like it's what I never thought it could happen. I really didn't.
Yeah,
That's
I
why I
didn't
kept my
either.
job. I was like, oh well, there's no way this is real that my Steam launch did well, so I'm just gonna keep my job because there's why how could this ever be a full time thing? But
Yeah.
it does happen, and I do. Sometimes I get bummed that there's so much negativity, and I know it's people trying to protect other people because it's crowded. There's a lot of indie games out there. There really is. But at the same time, I have this impression that it's easier to make a successful indie game than it is to be a successful rock band or write a successful book on Amazon or to make a successful indie film that actually makes
The competition is less.
enough money. Like all the arts are
Yes.
crowded. They are. And
Yes.
I think it's easier with indie games because there's a lot to learn. You have to not only are you
I got your back. I am programmer, by the way. Thank you very much. Quantum code, I mean, is in your name as well, right?
doing art, but you have to do like code and like sound effect mixing, and I don't. There's just, and I love that. I love all the different hats, and it is hard. And I know like there's a lot of negativity about don't indie games. Yeah, right. You're stupid for pursuing that, but it's possible.
Right.
There are success cases, and it happens to even really small developers. You just got to put in the time and put in the passion, and then put in the discipline.
I totally agree with you. I don't know if you've learned anything about having kids, but like I've learned that my wife taught me this is we would have a problem where like Liv, our daughter, wasn't sleeping for the first 6 months, which is like normal, right?
Hardest thing in the universe.
And you and I will be experiencing that in October for sure.
Yeah. Right there with you, brother.
But my wife was like, well, it doesn't have to be this way. Let's just research and let's learn. And let's take a course. And this is a great segue into you. Like, you have this course, Game Dev Unlocked, link in the description. And it's a little bit of money for potentially a
Should I put the link in the description as well? Or it's not the case?
career-changing path for my audience. And the same is true with having kids or any life decision is stop trying to figure things out completely alone. Stop pretending that you have all the answers and go take a course. Go learn from other people. Or in my case, my favorite thing to do is just get to know people in the industry because they're going to tell you the secrets. They're going to tell you, hey, there's money over here, or hey, you should go talk to this guy because he can connect you with these people, and then those people connect you with those people. Like I would have never met PewDiePie had I not first reached out to Tom Fulp.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Oh, that's cool.
I reached out to
Wait, they met in real life? Because I don't know, honestly.
Tom Fulp, the creator of Newgrounds, and I said, can you be my mentor?
Right, I'm planning to start a channel. Any tips to get just started? Hold on. A YouTube channel with game development or what exactly?
For a couple weeks and just tell me about games.
Yes, please put that link. Okay, just give me a bit of time. I will search for it right away. You can see me only now because I will do that by myself, so it won't bother you. But please tell me, and let's discuss. So you told me you want to start a YouTube channel. What kind of YouTube channel? About what exactly? Let me know. Coding. Okay, I wasn't sure. I wanted to make sure. Coding. So, what I've suggested to another subscriber, check out the official. Okay, just give me one more second. So, there are a lot of stuff, a lot of content that you can put out there. I'm very glad that you are into programming because I feel like this is a field that's not gonna die, is gonna be out there forever, even though people said, oh, it will be gone because of AI. I don't think so. Okay, wait a second. Course. Okay, there you go. I've added the link in the description. So now, back to our stuff. What you can do is, one more second, I can show you exactly what you can do. Okay, so I guess now you can see me right there. Okay, so what you can do is you can start with challenges because that also keep people entertained. You don't want to be boring for your audience. So here, for example, we've got this one, coding practice challenges or something like that. Set a goal every day. Try to make it entertaining. This is what I learned. Thing, 10 things that I learned from this website. Is this a scam? Something like that. Make it not clickbait. Put a title that somehow resumes what you done in the video. Make it just a bit more entertaining or eye-catching so the people are gonna watch it and click on it. Edit your thumbnails. Thumbnails are very important. And try to do challenges. In my opinion, that's something I would watch. Or what I suggested to another subscriber that also told me that he just wanted to start, what I will do is I will literally say programming. You told me C++, you like C++. Let's pretend your channel will be about C++. What you can do is go here to filters and set today. And we will see all the videos today with C++. What we can do is we can also somehow rank them by the views. So, for example, 16 hours ago, how to actually learn to code the easy way. This video got almost 1000 views in 16 hours, which in my opinion is great. Let's see this guy.
What's
Okay,
going on, everybody? Welcome back.
he has a lot of subscribers. I'm trying to make videos about technology and tutorial stuff. Technology in general, well, you have to make sure you know your niche and you know exactly where you want to focus on and what your community is gonna be like. Because even for my community, I will show you something. I was curious at some point about you guys, my subscribers. And here I put this poll right here. I'm very curious about this. How would you describe yourself? Either gamer or game developer? There was a guy that told me both. That was also true. I could have implemented that option. So make sure you really know your niche and where you want to focus on because when you say technology, technology is a very broad field. We got phones. This is technology, right? This is technology. It's gonna be very hard for you to talk about a lot of stuff in the videos. If you want to present the news, I can suggest you this website is my favorite website in terms of technology news. Here you can literally discover everything that's going on in this moment when it comes to technology. The Verge, you can see the website here. There's another website, is this one, but the first one is the best in my opinion. So you also got this one. This is also great about technology and stuff. Um, what else can I tell you? Hmm. And that's pretty much it. If you have any other question, let me know.
And this is I was 22, and I was working a desk job, and I remember talking to him on the phone on a hot summer day in my car, with the car off, sweating bullets, talking to Tom Fulp.
Can't imagine the feeling after that.
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, this guy is really successful. He created Newgrounds.com, and then he messaged me 3 years later, and said, "Hey, I don't know if you care, but Felix PewDiePie wants to do voice acting. Would you be willing to let him do voice acting for your game?" And now, PewDiePie and I have a very mild, like small email relationship. And that was because I reached out to people.
Yes.
I reached out to
Yes.
people.
And you're right. And my life changed
Nice.
because I reached out to you.
I was trying to say that technology related to coding, AI, and machine learning, I think ML. Well, hmm, there's a lot of things you can do with coding. I don't have that much experience when it comes to coding, but I will tell you something that I would love to watch is the video exactly the one like I've showed you. How, for example, one title that stands out and it got very popular these days is if I have to, no, if I'll ever get the chance to learn how to code, I will do it this way. Or this is how I would learn programming today. You know what I mean? These YouTube videos kind of stand out, and I feel like they're very interesting to watch. Or 10 tips and tricks for a programmer, stuff like that. Yeah, if I will have any other idea, I will let you know. But this is what I have by far.
And
And about machine learning, I don't know that much, so I can really suggest stuff. Try to do a little bit of research and see, or actually think about what you are watching on YouTube. And take the ideas that you like, make them yourself. I mean, don't steal ideas, but adapt them into your own style. This is how I would start if I was a beginner. Exactly. That's it. That's if this is gonna be your first video, I promise it's gonna do great. Um, Make sure you use the right tags for your video. You, as I told you, entertain the audience. It's not like I have a lot of experience. Imagine I've created this channel on April 16 and now it's June 12. So it's not like, I mean, now I got 71 subscribers. But what I appreciate more is not the number itself, but the fact that these subscribers are very active. And I think this is where I won. Because every time I'm starting a live stream, I'm never by myself. You are here, so it means that you liked what you saw, and that's the best thing for me. Make sure you communicate with your audience, you talk to them, you ask them questions, you care about them, and I think, yeah, that's pretty much it.
this is why I try to answer all my emails, even when there's a million emails. But
Yeah.
I was a new, scared indie game developer, hobbyist, and I emailed you. I actually looked it up recently because I was like, what did I say again? It was in 2015 or 2016, and I asked you about the South by Southwest game festival, and I was like, hey man, I'm a big fan. Thomas, you're
I don't
awesome.
remember this at all. I
This is
don't
the
remember
first.
this
This
at
is the
all,
email.
man.
This is the first email I sent you.
Because you keep saying you were a fan, but I'm like, I remember being a fan of David. So I think it was reversed.
Yeah, I emailed you asking questions about South by Southwest because they invited me, and I was like, should I do this? That's a lot of money. I don't have any money, but it'd be cool to show it. And I asked you, I was like, you showed Pinstripe at South by Southwest. Did you like it? And you were so, and you were nice. You were encouraging. You gave helpful information. and
Oh,
and then yeah, so I appreciate that. Thank you, Thomas.
no, thanks.
And that and that connection.
Thanks for being nice.
And then later, you'd ask me questions, and I loved helping you. But then you introduced me to Matt Ty. We talked about.
Noted. Thanks. You are very welcome. I really hoped I helped you somehow. If you have any other question, let me know. But yeah, hope I will also know the answer. But I need to go. I need some sleep. Take care. Thank you once again very, very much for staying here and yeah, resisting that much. And I'll see you in the next one. I'll finish this video and I'll see if I'll watch another one or I will close the live stream. So yeah, take care. Good luck with your new YouTube channel, and I can't wait to hear news about it.
Who helped me with consoles. And so I'm not over
Yeah.
exaggerating this. Like this connection with you, like, and it's not like I hate the term networking. I don't like that. Like I want to talk to
I
people.
don't either.
I want to talk to people I admire, and because I want to get to know them because they're really talented and they're nice.
Well, it's
And,
funny.
Yeah.
Go ahead. No,
and
go ahead.
And you just showed me Matt Ty, and you introduced me
Yeah.
to him, and it without exaggeration, it changed my life. So
Yeah.
I owe a lot to you, Thomas, and I appreciate it. And you're
Well-
right. Like it's those connections of like good people that can change your life.
Right, it totally is, and I think networking is a bad word, because I was actually on Discord last night on my phone, and me and my wife were like in bed watching TV, and she looked at me and she said, "I thought you said you were gonna be working on your phone, after 5 o'clock," because I have this problem where I keep working when I'm on my phone.
Happens.
She was like, "I wish you would do that," and she said, "Who are you talking to?" I think I was messaging you. And I scrolled through. I went, "No, I'm not working." And I scrolled through my phone and showed her all of my Discord friends, and they are my work. We're also working together, all of my friends, but we're also friends, and so it's all very friendly relationships with people who
That's great.
make you a lot of money as a game developer at the same time, right?
Yeah.
So
Yep.
it's really about just being friends with people in the industry. Now, obviously, you want to be friends with people who don't have any connections, but you want to try and form friendships with people who do have connections, because they're gonna make your life a lot easier. And when I say quote unquote make you a lot of money, I'm being hyperbolic, but
Sure.
is that how you say that? Hyperbolic. But like it could very well mean that you hit a pocket of income that you needed desperately because you knew the right person to steer you to that pocket of income.
You're totally right. Like I just love talking to people who have a passion for this. Doesn't matter where they are on their journey. And you talked to me even though you were like, "Who's this guy?" I don't know, but I'll help him out. And that's why I answer every email I can. Maybe a few have slipped through the cracks, but it's just it's exciting. It's exciting helping people, but your time is finite. Your time is finite. I understand.
Well, I was curious. I wanted to ask you a question. So I've had people on YouTube go, "If Thomas was a successful game developer, he wouldn't be teaching it."
Oh, I hate that. Don't
And
like
I'm
that
like,
argument at all.
I'm like, I don't want to show you my bank account, but I could prove to you that I'm doing quite well with revenue from games, but I also enjoy teaching it.
It's a straw man, because I don't need to do this. Like, it'd be nice to diversify, just a little bit of side income, but I'm doing this because I love teaching and I love sharing with people what I learned, because I want to help people. Or else I wouldn't answer emails every morning for hours. I'm not getting paid for that. I do it because I love it.
Let me know next year if you're still doing that, because I stopped doing that.
No, it's got our time. I wish I had clones of me to do all my work.
I know.
But yeah, you got to do it. You got to keep your sanity. But I try my best at least to answer a sincere question that I get.
Yeah. Well, listen, man, I think let's wrap up here. If you're cool with that.
Yeah,
I
this
could
has
talk
been great.
For hours. I can talk for hours. Do you want to sort of make a big pitch for Game Dev Unlocked? Because I'll say this first. Again, to my audience, link is in the description. David was nice enough to give me portions of his course for the launch of Neversong, and I literally just took that course and followed the steps. And obviously there's luck involved, and your game has to be good, but I took those steps, especially when it comes to marketing Neversong, and I put them into practice, and lo and behold, I got exactly what David told me I was going to get, which is five days front paged on Steam, which is was the whole goal of the steps he gave me. So I just recommend to my audience to, and by the way, this isn't sponsored. This is actually a negative sponsorship, because I want to make my own course. I want to make my own course one day. I don't want David to steal my customers.
I was gonna ask if you had an online course and it was like, the videos and the lessons, I'd buy that in a heartbeat. I really would. I think a lot of people. I think a lot of your followers would.
Probably a lot of people have asked for it. But for now, I think it's important that my audience consider the idea that, how much is the course, by the way?
I think.
Do you have a price?
I'm gonna have a coupon code, and I can give it to you in
Okay.
the description.
Okay,
I'm
it'll
still.
be-
You know what? It's just me. Like I'm just figuring stuff out. I may change the price, but it is. I'll probably around $300 to $400.
Okay. So, and I've by the way, I've checked out this course, and it's ridiculously high value. It's not like some small Udemy course. It's really, really good. Here's the thing, and this is, I'm talking to my audience here. It's one of those things where, is it worth the risk of spending a couple $100 to learn the things that most game developers don't learn? And here's the thing, here's the second thing. A lot of these YouTube channels, and a lot of them are amazing. They're great content, and I actually use them all the time for tutorials and stuff. But a lot of these YouTube channels have never released a game. And so for you've specifically released a game, not only released a game, but made plenty of income off of it to go full time. And you've basically put all of those secrets, essentially a mentorship program, into this course. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's, man. Yeah, where do I even start? I've put so much time and money into it, and I don't like, some people are like, oh, why would I, and you could just Google stuff for free and learn. That's how I did it. But yeah, I put a lot of time and money to make this the best it could. And so it is like, it's mostly, there's a private Discord server, and all of us are together, and we're like sharing each other's games, and I do feedback Fridays with the students' games. And
Man,
it's
that's
fun.
awesome.
It's fun. And I don't, it isn't about the money. Like, that's why I'm doing YouTube as well. I'm going to be putting tons of free stuff on there. This is something to like take you to the next level, I guess.
Yeah.
And yeah, you get free Steam keys, and we do case studies. I've built out this system. Like, I don't know. I'm really proud of it. And but I don't want people to feel like, oh, the FOMO, like, oh, I gotta join the program and pay that money and stuff.
No.
And there's tons of, I love helping everybody, and I'm going to be doing stuff on YouTube for free. So, if
Are you
the
gonna
school,
be,
the school is awesome. Like, if you guys want to
Yeah.
check it out, that'd mean the world to me. If you don't,
Yeah.
then if you just subscribe to Game Dev Unlocked on YouTube, that would be amazing. I would so appreciate that, because I love making these videos and people watching them. It's exciting. I love it.
It is a lot of fun, YouTube. And it's, I was actually thinking yesterday, I saw some of your videos are doing really well, and I was pissed.
The algorithm picked
Yeah.
it up, because those videos
of course
are
it did,
old.
because you're
They're
David.
old.
You always hit the algorithm with things.
It just was weird. Those videos, like, no one was watching them for 6 months, and then, dude, that could be another discussion on its own. Is like dependency
let's do a
on
whole,
algorithms.
Yeah, let's talk about algorithms and how
another
different
time,
platforms. But to my audience, like, I want to say that I was pissed that you were doing so well. Because I was like, man, how did he pull this off? Because it took a while for me. Maybe it didn't. Maybe my memory isn't serving me correctly, but I was, and I'm being hyperbolic, or like I'm joking about being pissed, but it was kind of like, it was like, David will probably have 1 million subscribers, and I'll have 200. I'll have 200,000.
Who knows?
Your content is very precise, I think is a good word. Sometimes I speak in generalities and abstractions because I'm lazy, but your content is like bang, 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 bang. Like, these are all the things you need to do. Specifics, especially your online course, very specific. And that is the kind of content, especially from someone who's done well on Steam and console. That is the kind of content that YouTube needs to help people learn how to make games. So I think your channel is definitely going to be separated out from the rest, because, again, you've made a game and you've done it well. That's very rare.
You have too, man. And, I love your YouTube channel, and I'm just, I'm trying stuff out. I'm excited to do YouTube just because I've always wanted to. But, man, you also, like, I love the content you make. And I was reminded of something, was like, this is one of the best parts of indie game development is like we're a community and we just support each other so much. This is like this is my last story. I went to GDC and I was speaking, so I was like sick to my stomach. I was pretty nervous. But then Unity tweeted from their official account like, "Hey, we're bringing some influencers, some game dev influencers," and you were on the list.
Yeah.
And I was so excited. I was like, "Oh, maybe I can meet." I was with Matt as well, Matt Ty. I was like, "Oh, maybe we can meet Thomas. It'd be so great to meet him in person." And so I go to the park outside the Moscone Convention Center. And then Brackies was there, and and those guys. And my wife asks, like, "Hey, where's Thomas Brush?" And then he's like, "Oh yeah, he couldn't make it. He just pulled out last minute." I was like, "Oh, I'm really bummed about that." But here's the thing: I checked your YouTube channel. It was right then during GDC, and that's when the PewDiePie video went live.
Yeah.
And I was like, I said I was in the hotel room. I was like, "Oh my gosh, Thomas Brush, he's getting like 100,000 subscribers in a day." I was so excited for you. And I just was, maybe I was a little pissed too. I was pissed. I was pissed / really happy for you.
I've had the sense, I don't know how much you can sense through Discord, but like a lot of my friends who do YouTube, I'm like, I wonder if there's man, you got so lucky with PewDiePie.
It was
with
work.
PewDiePie, which it was really hard work, but man, I was obviously getting a reply from PewDiePie.
You made a game in 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, but I mean,
unbelievable. That's amazing.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry I wasn't there. I really wanted to go. I did go to San Francisco. I did go to GDC. It's just I didn't go to that event.
Oh, cool! I didn't know that.
So I was there. Me and my wife were there, and Unity flew us out there, and they gave us an amazing hotel.
Nice,
so,
man.
That's like the one little rocks. Yeah, that's like rock star right there. But the rest is greasy Philly cheesesteak life. It's sitting alone in your office making games.
But it's cool. Like we're all friends, and I like to think of the people who watch my videos like the ones that are nice, not the mean ones on Reddit give me death threats. But the ones we can be kind of part of a family, and that's what I want to do with the school. That's what I want to do with YouTube, and I think you've done a great job of that. So I want to try to recreate that.
Well, thank you, and I think you're doing a great job. Your channel's gonna explode, and all of my subscribers go over subscribe to David's channel. It is really, honestly, again, this is not sponsored by you. You're not going to give me anything in return. I'm telling my audience, this is really good content. And so
thank you. That's so nice. I appreciate it.
So yeah, no problem, man. You want to wrap it up?
Yeah, this is great. Thanks, Thomas, for having me here. You're one of my game dev heroes. And if there's anything if there's anything I can do to help you, just let me know. Good luck with the family. It sounds like life's going really well. And I'm so excited that Never Song launched well.
Yeah. Thanks for your help with that, man. You were really helpful. Thanks for chatting. This was good.
Yeah. All right. See ya.
Okay, so we finished this one. I'm very, very happy about that. Now let's check where did Thomas appear in PewDiePie's video, because I'm very curious about that now. How I made and played a game with PewDiePie in 14 days? Really? Hold on. I'm just curious about this.
There were so many people in the live stream.
Okay, so we have to watch this thing. Actually, where is it? I've created a playlist, watch live. Okay, is it here? I think it is. So we have to watch this one as well in the future, because I feel like it's very, very powerful. I was curious where PewDiePie was. So I think it's this one. Yeah. Oh, wow. Nice. So this is Thomas' video and PewDiePie's video. Okay, so I guess I already know what we have to watch next. That's pretty dope. And right now, I actually wanted to watch another video because David is no longer posting on YouTube. and Thomas just not now, put out a video about that, and we are just supposed to find. Hold on. Where is it? Don't quit. Where is it, Thomas? Hold on. Give me a minute, guys. Okay, maybe I can put my facecam there. And now his video wasn't that old, I would say. I think 2 years ago when David left YouTube and stopped posting. I just want to hear Thomas' opinion. This one. Okay, let's
It
see.
was really a series of live streams. Hey guys, Thomas Brush here, or at least maybe my new name is Short Hair Thomas Brush. I know a lot of you are probably mad I cut my hair. Man, I'm done with long hair. I quit long hair. And that's actually what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about David Wehle, who quit YouTube. David Wehle is a great friend of mine, and he is a brilliant game developer. He made a game called The First Tree, very successful game. He also made a program called Game Dev Unlocked, which is an online school for game developers. His YouTube channel blew up faster than mine. He started it way later than I did, and he just blew up. He's so good at YouTube content. But in this video, he talks about how he's just completely burnt out, exhausted, how he's managing and handling way too much. And he in this video, you guys should watch it. The link is below. In this video, he talks about how he feels like he was lighting himself on fire to make everyone else feel warm. And I definitely sympathize with that. In fact, the moment I started doing this was somewhere around the PewDiePie video. I did a video for PewDiePie. And in that video, it was really a series of live streams for 2 weeks. His audience came over to my channel. I was really lucky. Thank you to Felix for allowing me to do this. But his subscribers came to my channel, and I just sat there suffering, live streaming, making a game for PewDiePie while his audience told me what to do, right? And actually the game kit that I used to make that game kit is below if you guys want to download that. It's totally free. No gimmicks here. My treat to you. Click below to download that game.
Really? Let's check it out. So where is it? Learn how to. Mm, what is this? Oh, okay.
So it was really a series of live streams for 2 weeks. His audience came over to my channel, making a game for game kit that I used to make that game. That game kit is below if you guys want to download that. It's totally free. No gimmicks here. My treat to you. Click below to download that game kit. You could do it right now while you're listening to me ramble on here. You could download that, use it however you want. It's totally free. That's how I felt. And I got to admit, I haven't felt a relief or a release since then. And that was like 2018. So I know exactly what David is talking about here. David is talking about the feeling of constantly being observed and making mistakes in front of people. At least that's what I'm assuming he's talking about here. Making mistakes, offering advice to thousands of students. I have 3,000 students on my online school, and also 80,000 subscribers. I could be wrong here. I don't even know, but 280,000 subscribers. People are always watching you, and it wears on you. You know what's funny? In my head, I'm like, I think that I can just turn off the YouTube audience in my brain. So it's like, I'll go to bed tonight. I'm just going to think about my games. I'm just going to be an artist, but I'm not going to worry about my audience and what they think, right? But the truth is, I don't think it's possible. I don't think it's possible to turn off what you guys think about me. And I'm curious if that's true about David. Ultimately, at the end of the day, making an indie game is really hard. It's really exhausting. You wear a million hats. And on top of that, to say, you know, I'm going to also do devlogs, and I'm also going to worry about what my audience thinks about me. Or I'm willing to at least see what that feels like and try it out, dip my toes. What you realize is it's for most people, it's a little too much to bear. It's a little too much to bear. So a lot of you might envy David. Some of you might envy me, despite the fact that my content is not nearly as good as David's. But I just want to say this. I am very lucky. I am super blessed, and it's actually because of David. David's actually guided my career in a lot of ways he doesn't realize. But at the end of the day, guys, I am exhausted. I'm burnt out. I love what I do. I love you guys. I love my games. I love making games. I love my online school that I run. It's like my time is sort of split 50-50 between making games and teaching how to do it. But I am burnt out. And so that's why I want to say I'm quitting YouTube too. No, I'm kidding. Obviously, I'm not doing that. Not yet. Or, you know, the thing is eventually you need to pick and choose what you're going to do. Okay. One of my favorite things to do is to meet with entrepreneurs that aren't really in my industry. One of the greatest business decisions I ever made was because I met with an owner of a pizza restaurant. And I just met with him, and he was like, why do you want to meet with me? I make pizza. You make video games. And I said, well, I don't know. I just feel like I should get to know you. Because ultimately, I love getting to know people who are targeted. And that's something I struggle with. Maybe that's something you guys struggle with. Maybe that's something that David struggles with. Being targeted, okay? Ultimately, at the end of the day, you need to figure out, eventually, you need to figure out how to marry what you're good at, what you love, what you're really passionate about. Marry that with what is profitable. If you could figure that out, you're going to be a very successful game developer and entrepreneur. And that's what this guy who made pizzas did. He's very successful. I also met with a guy who runs a pest control company. And he was like, Thomas, why do you want to meet with me? And it was so funny because at the end of that conversation, do you know what the theme of the conversation was? What the conclusion was? The conclusion was exactly what David just did here. And that is eventually you need to figure out what you're doing. Okay? Let me tell you what I do. And a lot of you probably do this. I know Jonas Tyroller does this. Danny does this. Blackthorn Prod. Noah at Blackthorn Prod. We do game development, but we also talk about it, and we create video content, YouTube content, social media content. A lot of us run online programs as well in schools. And a lot of you might say, well, that's because, Thomas, you're supplementing your income and you need those online schools. No, I really don't. And I know that David doesn't either. We don't need the income from our schools. We just do it because we enjoy it. It provides income. I'm very, very lucky that it does, but we don't need it. So eventually you need to figure out how to just get targeted, get focused. Ultimately focus on what it is you love. And I'm so inspired by David here because he's being honest and open, and he's telling us, I love making games more than I do influencing. So at the end of the day, one of them is eventually going to win, guys. Some of you do devlogs. Some of you do online courses. Some of you do assets. You develop assets. Some of you make games. A lot of us do all of that. I do all of that. And at the end of the day, you can't be torn in so many directions. You've eventually got to figure out what you want to do. And so really, at the end of this video, I just want to say thank you to David. Goodbye to David. He and I are probably going to talk a lot in private because I'm that cool. No, but really, I just want to say goodbye to David. So let's all leave some applause emojis below in the comments, and just let David know that the decision that he made to go full-time game dev was the right move. I think it was. And I know how David feels. For those of you who envy David, or maybe you envy me, envy is not the right word. Maybe you just aspire to do what we do. I do want to let you know that every night before bed, I'm tempted to have a glass of wine or take some Benadryl right? Something to calm me down. And I'm being honest with you guys about that, because it's silly stuff, right? Just, basically I can't sleep because I always feel this weight and this burden sort of on my shoulders to not only make indie games, because I know that I'm good at it. I know that I'm a really good storyteller. I know that I was gifted. I was born with the gift to tell stories, make indie games like David was. But I was also born with the gift of teaching and training and creating video content and talking. I'm really good at talking to a camera. And that weight of knowing that I'm doing both, it keeps me up at night. And it's silly because it's not like I'm even worried about anything. It's just always running. I know how much I have to do to keep my business running. So don't bite off more than you can chew, guys. Okay? Try your best to stay focused. Always tell the truth. That's what my dad used to say. When in doubt, tell the truth. And what is the truth in this situation? The truth is, if you love something, if you know you were born with a gift or a forte, pursue that. At the end of the day, pursue that. And I have to tell myself that now. At the end of the day, I need to pursue what I enjoy, because I don't want to live a lie. Truth is, I love both. I love YouTube. I love games. I love teaching. I love telling stories. I love art. I love music. I love it all. But I got to figure out which one I love the most. And I'm not sure yet. But David is. So let's say goodbye to David. Let's subscribe to him below and leave a comment. And guys, if you're looking to get into indie game development, do remember that you can download that 2D game kit, the same one that sort of started my career. I want to give that to you guys for free. So anyways, cheers to David. All the best to you, buddy. That's it. This is a glass. This is like a glass of wine. Cheers. Click. Bye.
Okay, so this was the video. Yeah, guys, well, what can I say? Thank you very much for watching this live stream, for staying with me. I'll see you in the next one. I don't think it's gonna take that long, keeping in mind that my last exam is gonna be on Friday, and I will start. Maybe I will start again with videos. Keep in mind that if I start again posting videos, it might take longer for me to record them and edit them. If I'll be live, well, that's very easy because we have a lot of things to do, playing games, reacting to stuff, a lot of things every day. So yeah, I'm the Nonconformist. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.